Good evening, guys. Welcome to the Asylum, episode 8. We are about to go live. I'm going to bring in Moist Noodle and Miserable G. Hopefully they're here. We're going to go live now. Smoothest transition ever. Please make there be nothing wrong.
Hello. Hello.
And
I'm so big.
We've dragged Moist. This is true. Nothing's changed there. Wow, it's like real. It's like really touching. Oh.
He can touch you.
Oh no.
He can touch you. So welcome everyone that's in chat. How you all doing?
Good evening.
Yo,
folks.
Jen. Long time no see some of you guys. It's almost as if I haven't seen you today. How have you been in the last few hours? Did you get food? Are you rested? Are you
I feel sorry for you guys seeing his face twice in the same day.
Twice in the day. They can't seem to get enough of me. Yeah, they... Less salty this evening, though. Well, I hope it'll be less salty this evening.
You
welcome,
less salty.
I promise. I promise. I promise to be less salty. Ain't a Subway.
Yeah.
You ate a Subway. Nice. Subway. He should dye his hair green. Oh yeah, because that would be so easy for the green screen. Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
It's okay. I'll get a blue screen.
He'd be like, "Damn it, I got the wrong color screen." Actually, that's a question. You know the expensive screen you bought, the one you have. Is it only a green screen?
Just
only green.
Oh, see, like
They
my
don't
30 quid one.
It's literally meant for one purpose. Yeah, but it's meant for one purpose to stream, you know, from your house.
Do you know the difference between a blue screen and a green screen?
One's blue, one's green.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you have an actor that's wearing something green, you'll use a blue screen.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what it is. It's like back in the day they used to do black. It used to be black screen.
Yeah,
on old film and stuff, which was pretty awesome. When I went to,
I would last about 5 minutes on that.
I could be here for ages. Actually, if I go into a big monologue about when I went to this studio and we went to this thing, and they had the old school, they had like this old. Anyway, I'll talk about it on my stream, not on the Asylum. Could be here for ages.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll be talking about Elite Dangerous in a minute.
I hope not.
We'll get on with the Dangerous show very soon.
So how's everyone? How's everyone been this week? How you all up? What you up to? How you been? You guys been playing StarCitizen? Have any of you guys played StarCitizen this week?
No.
Be honest, it's fine. I have. I played it a little bit.
It's only Monday today, so no, not yet.
Well, since last week, so since the last podcast is out, have any of you played it a little bit?
I've been too
7
busy
days.
in the VRs.
You mean? Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. You're trying out the VR. But like in 7 days, how many times does anyone here actually play StarCitizen? Because this is kind of like, this is the thing. I watched a couple podcasts over the weekend, and I watched a few people who are normally diehard StarCitizen through and through, and I asked them and I go, "Have you guys, the simple question, have you played StarCitizen?" And they're like, "No." And some people are like, "I haven't played StarCitizen since 2.6.1." I'm like, "Holy fuck, what the hell?" And you're talking about the game?
I would be pretty surprised by people, especially if you can say you're a hardcore fan, not to at least tried 3.0. It seems a bit odd.
Well, pretty much the entire Relay team, as far as I'm aware, do not actually play StarCitizen. I'm like,
well, no, that's not.
Whoa.
I mean, well,
no, seriously. I think Eris hasn't played it. I don't think, unless he maybe has. Maybe he has. I'm not sure, but I know that the guy that was on the other day, Canadian Syrup, he hasn't played it since 6. He's on Captain's Table. He said he hadn't played it since 2.6.1. I think the other Jake guy hasn't. I think none of them. It's like a badge of honor out there. You literally have to have not played StarCitizen.
How long you can
to be a part of the Relay team. I was like, damn, that's impressive. So yeah,
typing up transcripts is the thing, and that's what we.
That must
need
be
from
it.
Them.
That must be it.
They're definitely absorbed into StarCitizen, just not the actual playing of it yet.
And they're not alone.
I mean,
they're not alone.
But yeah, and I do get that, because like I've said a few times when we've discussed Burnout and things like that, and there's certain things, if this is a game you're really looking forward to, you might not necessarily want to play it in a broken state. You actually might you're looking forward to it that much. You're interested in the news of it, you're interested in the development, but you don't want to play it and be broken. So
Yep, that is a perfectly good reason, I think, as well. Yeah, someone said to me that.
My problem is that I'm somebody who needs to be told what to do. I need like that sort of linear experience. If I'm playing a game, I need a mission and be told what to do. And until we get missions, decent missions, I think I'm going to really struggle.
Well, you need. I mean, how long did you play it? How long have you played it now, Moist? Because you came in, you're fairly new to the world of StarCitizen in terms of
how long have you been playing StarCitizen in general?
Yeah,
I first backed in 2014.
2014,
so
but
I've been
you've only
playing
been playing
a while.
So you played it every patch
since Hangar.
Okay.
Since Hangar. So
okay. So you've enjoyed which patch was the best patch for you?
What I tend to do is just dip in.
Okay.
I would say 3.0.
Just dip in, yeah. Just a quick dip in.
Last week, please.
I'm not saying you just dip in, dip out. You get your feel for the situation. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But if I had to select a patch, I would say 3.1 is the one that I enjoy, because I'm not like you. Like I don't know the flight models well enough to go, oh, I prefer the flight model in 2.6.1. It's the game is. I like to see the game progressing and moving forward. So 3.0 for me is the patch because it has moved forward, but this still just isn't enough for me to do. So.
Noodle's a bit quiet, is he? Okay, I'll try and turn Noodle up a bit. Unless Noodle, you want to turn yourself up a smidge?
I can turn myself. How is that? How is that?
Turning himself up.
Oh, is that okay? You two are worse than me. I swear to God.
Let me know if he's too loud. Moist is whispering.
Right, well, I've turned my dial all the way up now.
He's putting his sexy voice on. That's why.
That's good. As long as everyone can hear, that's better. Okay, good. I try to balance before we go on, and I think everyone seemed about the same level. But if anyone is, just let us know. Yeah. Okay. Well, then it's just interesting because, like, for me, the best patch. It depends what we're talking about, because I think that's the problem. I can't actually say this is the best definitive patch because they've all had bits that are better, but then they seem to have bits that are really bad. So I think for me, still the most playable and enjoyable in terms of that had lots of things still going for it was the previous patch. If I'm being honest, as much as the missions were dull, they did work. You did start them, and you did finish them, and you did complete them, and there was a few.
You obviously didn't watch my
flight model works. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. And then we had
mission 1 most of the time.
Yeah, and Arena Commander worked, and Star Marine had people playing it, and overall, to a degree, not many by the end, to be fair, but it did have some people playing it. And there was generally the 2.6 patch between 2.6.0 and I say from 2.5 to 2.6.3. That period there was probably, I think, one of the funnest period at the moment in terms of stuff, but then 3.0 will have the best build on, and we'll have the best, I think, future content. But it's been a very rocky start. It's been a very rocky start.
Everybody thought that 3.0 was going to be the Messiah, and it hasn't been. And my next worry is that everybody thinks right that beacons are going to be the next Messiah, and they probably won't be, but they will, I think, add more gameplay. And then I think everybody thinks that Bind Culling is going to be the next Messiah.
They thought it was.
I think you'll find we're still a fair way away from the really good patch.
Yes.
It's going to keep people for a while. Because at the end of the day, until you can actually have gameplay that you can keep coming back to and expand upon, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Even with custom-made missions, I mean, there's a limit to... Because you could, I mean, technically you could do those missions now. If you say, well, I'm on yellow, come and find me and rescue me, or I'm here, come and find me and do this. Like, I know you're not going to get the official payment, but even just adding that, you're still very limited in what the content's allowing you to do. And I think that's what people misunderstood. Like when 3.0 was coming, I was one that did say for a long time, this is going to be fun when you first get it, but it's not going to last, because at the end of the day, what you're looking at is a bare moon. And it, as pretty as it may well be, you're still looking at an empty rock. I mean, to be fair, they added more on it than I expected with the outposts and things, which does help a little bit. But then once you've just jumped from one outpost to another outpost, there's not much in it, really.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, which we all... Yeah. I mean, it's been talked about many times. The reality is this was, I think, an execution of trying to give us the ability to land on planet, to be able to have an expanded kind of procedural generated planets, and having lots of people in the game to play and do all that stuff. That's very much what this was, and they've achieved it, and it's great. The frames could be better, which is one of the things.
For me personally, to answer like what your question is the best patch, this, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm with Moist. I'm not with the flight models. I just play it, and however my ship handles, it handles. So from that point of view, if this patch had the performance, this would content by far the best out of all of them. It's just that we haven't got, but I can't have that with the performance. So it'd have to be something like 3.1 when we get performance better or something like that, you know. But this is obviously, I mean, if I added more content, how can it not be better, really?
My question is though, let me ask you a question, right?
Say, I know what you're going to say with it.
If you had to choose between two, if you had to choose between two, what could you live with? Could you live with more stuff to do but still crappy frames, or would you prefer better frames but not much to do? I'm just curious. Like if you had to choose between the two.
How bad frames are we talking here? Because I don't get
what we
bad
currently
frames
have
compared to other people. I don't get bad. For me, I'm lucky. I'm one of those people that gets good frames. So
that's your amazing CPU.
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky with that situation. So for me, I get playable. I get playable frames. So I would like more content, and that's. But I think even if I had piss poor frames, I'd want more content as well. But I know, judging on Reddit, when you go on Reddit, one I still see daily, it's the common thread is like, how can I improve my frames? How can I get better at this game? People want this game to be better for them, their experience right now, and that's what they just keep asking. Like, I've got this on my computer, I've got the latest this, that, and the other, and it's still not running great. Why is this the case? People, I can sense the frantic desperation of the person behind the keyboard. You know what I mean? They're almost absolutely desperate.
I mean, so many posts on Facebook saying, what do I need to upgrade my computer? What do I need? It's like, just chill.
Yeah, I know.
You get there, you'll get your frames, you'll get in there and go, oh no, what do I do? It's like, I mean, I get it.
I get it.
At the end of the day, because that's development, and like, we're still, it's not meant to be playing it as such. It's not a ready thing product for us to be playing in that respect. I know we all want to play it and have fun, but you're going to get that with more content, not with the frames. And
that's one of the things. I think that's one of the reasons I'm kind of pleased at the moment that there isn't an awful lot to do, because my issue is I can get frustrated quite easily if I'm trying to achieve a task and I can't. However, if I'm just messing around and then I find a bug, then I don't mind replicating the bug so much and trying to find workarounds to fix it. Then I don't get frustrated. And I think that's some of the problem that we're seeing on Reddit is people are getting really, really frustrated because they just want to play a game.
Yeah,
trying to treat it like it's a game.
This isn't what this is. That's it. They're
not
trying
at the
to
moment.
play it now.
Yeah.
I mean, when in 2.6, I couldn't finish the set of 8 missions I did it about 3 times, and I played that patch for like a year. It's because it kept crashing every time. Yeah. It just kept crashing out, and I'd be doing one mission, or I'd get to like the 4th mission. I mean, I'm not barring the fact that I crashed a lot and died as well, but the game would crash before I would get them done. So.
Yeah, there's definitely, there was some tough times for sure with crashing and stuff like that, definitely. But overall, like you started a mission, you completed a mission. It had its start and its finish, and generally you could do it, and they didn't crash all the time. And speaking of which, I think you had good frames to do combat, which obviously is something that I enjoyed. I could do combat for over a year without any problems. I mean, I can literally only do combat now with interdiction. Don't get me wrong. I sit there. I can actually read chat because interdiction, they're so bad, the pilots. I can actually sit, read chat, and kill them without any problems. So I could do that. I could do actual fight people and reasonably keep up with chat. But now I can keep up with chat even better because AI computers are rubbish. So
I think for me, one of the biggest things that we've got is, or in a bit of a form, is persistence. Before in 2.6, getting halfway through those missions and having to start over again was a fucking nightmare. Whereas now, making money and then that money still being there next time I log in is fucking awesome. You know,
spending it on those ships that won't respawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on, it is awesome, but then you could say the counter is when you're halfway through having spent all your money on loading it with cargo, and then it crashes halfway through, and the persistence of not having any of your money. Bugger. Yeah, no, it is the kind of, we're in that stage still. Like I said, there's a few things that I would change right now. I would definitely get rid of that waiting time.
One thing we discussed a lot before 3.0 Madness, because we obviously talked a bit about saying, you know, how we wasn't seeing it as the miracle patch, and some of the reasons we had were you and your combat, you know, because obviously mostly because putting moons in means that people and the servers being reasonably the same size, you get people spread far and wide. Is that why you're not doing combat at the moment, or is it just the state of the servers? Is it because no one's fighting, everybody's doing cargo runs, or what? It's
two or three things. There are people doing combat. There are a few of the friends do combat, but they don't. I mean, they, you know, a lot of them. Like I was talking to one of them. He uses his cutlass black for combat, which is like, okay, that's interesting, because he's a tank and it's a beast, and you can put lots of lasers on it, and it's hard to take down if you're a fairly competent pilot in it. But that's not really going to be the long-term flying combat scenario that I'm expecting. I think it's a combination of a few things. Like, combat hasn't really evolved to the next level. You know, they can't still get the core basics of the combat right. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, they've actually gone backwards in terms of the ability to wreck your weapons, the ability to test out weapon balancing, the ability, you know, the flight model is really fudged. It should be, so I don't want to swear too much. You've got the you know, all the for people who are joysticks, that doesn't work. The EFT, I think it's called, is that right? It doesn't work. Or the ESP, sorry, ESP, that doesn't work. The ships are very twitchy. There's a curve issue. There's all sorts of things that have gone quite heavily backwards in terms of for combat. And then with the frames on top of that, you know, you throw that in on top, but bad frames on top of that, you know, you just, there's nothing left that's that great. Apart from, like I said, I can kind of manage with the saber. I tweaked the curves slightly. I reduced them a little bit so they weren't so peaking, and for my mouse. And the saber is the only one that seems to be able to hold, like, the nose doesn't go crazy when you try to, it doesn't overcompensate itself. So that's why people are flying around in sabers and cutlasses, because those two are the best, I would say, most stable ships for it. So, but to fight other people, it's just, could you imagine the advantage I have having I've got 40 frames and the other person on the other end's running 12?
Yeah.
It's not fun for them, and it's certainly not fun for me. It's too easy. Or they're jumping around.
Maybe they need to upgrade to i7-87.
Maybe i7-700Ks, maybe.
That'd be your death slogan. As you kill them, you just spam the chat with, maybe get an upgrade.
Sponsored by Intel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
No,
again, they're gonna, do you know what? That's what they'll do. That's going to be the next chip. It'll be they'll be making the Star. It'll be called the Star Engine Intel drive CPU.
The cynics in you would actually think that they'd give you bad performance until the CPU comes out that says this is a StarCitizen CPU. The StarCitizen. You play with this and it's amazing.
Wow. Everyone would just be like, "Oh, could you imagine that outrage that would be
like, can I buy one though?" That's what people would be like. They wouldn't.
And you get a javelin with it, or something, like a new javelin variant or something, or the Titan suits. You get a new.
The way it's going, you probably get like a boot or something.
The Intel
in-game jacket.
The Intel. Yeah, you get.
All I want is a sword. I just want a sword.
An in-game light sword. Yeah. The Star, and it's the Star.
No,
engine.
It has to be a real sword, metal.
Oh, you want? Oh,
I want a big shaft in my hands.
Unfortunately, I'm not at BritainCon this year. Otherwise, I could bring up a really good sword for you to have. I'm sorry.
Madness. Maybe next year.
Next year.
It's worth the wait.
Bring a big sword up.
Thank you.
My wife's like, no, it's not. Oh yeah, okay.
It's what he thinks is big, and his wife just goes, "Yeah."
Hello,
yes,
her little hand comes in like that. Right, let's get on to some actual news. Okay, so the big news of the week, and my biggest disappointment, and we talked about this briefly today, but I will talk about it again on the podcast. Bind Culling, the main focus. Bind Culling. Yeah, Bind. Sorry, not blind. I call it blind.
Bind Culling. That's a different thing.
That's a completely different. We don't talk about that on stream. Oh God, ignore my dyslexia. I'm sorry. Bind Culling. I think I've probably been calling it blind all day, and people just
yeah, I noticed you called it Blind Culling earlier on your stream.
He had it right in his title. He kept saying blind all day.
I'm dyslexic. What can I say? I read it as blind every time I look at it. I don't know why. For some reason, I know it's not even there, but I keep calling it blind. But anyway, Bind Culling. It's been delayed. It was the main core feature for 3.1. This is quite sad, because that technically means 3.1 has had its biggest part ripped out of it because they haven't got enough people to test it, or it's not quite ready. So go for it. Go for it, Moist. You're bouncing. You're ready.
They're not feature-based patches. Just saying no.
I was just about to say exactly the same thing. On the plus side, it means that we should at least get the patch when they say, because it might not have anything in it. But
we are going to get things in 3. Don't ask me what they are, because I'm not up to date. But we will get things in 3.1 that weren't scheduled to be in 3.1. So we will still get cool things.
You'll get some new shit.
Under no illusion. But yes, I am disappointed that Bind Culling has been pushed back. But it's not the end of the world, because as I can't remember, is it Clive Johnson? I can't remember who it was that put out the post. Stated, although we're not getting Bind Culling, we are getting variable culling, which isn't as good as Bind Culling, but still gives us some sort of performance increase. I don't know what this means. I don't know.
Honestly,
just saying words.
honestly, I've had the same situation usually when I've gone to certain clubs in Thailand. It's the same thing. They bring in and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but you can't have this one. I'm sorry, but this one is almost as good as this one, but not quite, you know." And you're just left kind of going, "Yeah, but I really wanted that one. That one's really what I really wanted."
Thank you, Wingnutticus range-based serialized variable culling. That's what I was trying to say.
No wonder you couldn't remember that.
Oh my God!
Oh, this is the defense. We've been raided by Mitachi, the Space Bros.
Welcome, Space Bros.
Oh my God! It's a full-on bloody raid. We're getting absolutely mullered.
Sexy man.
Hang on. Defend. 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 Exclamation defend. Get some madness tanks going.
Hang on.
You actually have a command.
I stuck my ass in
I have a command. We have a command to fire back some serious get the tonks going. They have they stand no chance. We will destroy this raid.
On my screen, your tank looks more like a caterpillar.
Does it? Oh, it depends. Just shorten the text, shorten the window, make it work, make it work. Hey, look, what can I say? It's got a very long gun on the nose of it. It's all about proportion.
Hey, you said it, not me. It's not even me this week, it's you.
My wife comes in again. Oh, God.
Nice.
Fun. I think we're winning now.
Is that Bind Culling covered now?
I think we got this.
I think we've nailed this, boys. They're dying. They're dying. They're fading. Oh, they're coming back again.
They've come and they've gone.
They're coming back again. It's almost like a StarCitizen bug. It keeps coming back. There we go. We can get rid of them. Yes.
Ouch.
Woo. Right. Thank you so much for the host, Mitachi. Thank you for everyone that's come.
Appreciate
it. Yeah. How you all doing? Have you guys been watching the Calling the Devs or whatever it was?
Calling the Devs. Yeah, we didn't.
We were just talking about range-based variable culling. Don't you know?
Yes, we were.
Blind
culling.
Damn it! I almost got it right.
But yeah, so we were getting the form of it. But like on the note though, that is right in terms of they said they're going to give us a patch, so that's it. If it's not going to make it, I suppose at least. I mean, the good thing is the communication. They've been upfront. They've told us in advance. You're not getting the damn thing whether you want it or not, and that's that.
Yeah, I would rather have some sort of update rather than wait for another year.
Oh no, I'm not saying I'm not going to stand here and go, oh my God, I don't want them to give us the patch or delay it and then give us it later. No, I think that the fact that they're doing the whole, this is what we'll deliver and we'll deliver something, and if it's not in, it's not in. I'm glad that they're just going to stick with that. I think that's great, and they should definitely be doing that all the time. What I'm curious is, will they give us 3.1.5, or I like to have half numbers,
I don't think so,
and then drop it in.
No, because I think anything after like when you hit the third digit, is going to be bug fixes, I think.
But why not? If it was so, this is what I don't understand. If it's so close to being done, and they test it, and in a couple of weeks, why not drop it in?
I don't know what. Right, I'm not going to get right, but the variable culling was ready for 3.0.1, but they didn't release it for that patch. So no, I don't think we will see bind culling in a later hotfix. I think they would wait till the patch
doesn't come.
That's what they've said before. It's basically if it doesn't make that patch, it gets pushed onto the next patch and it will come up with that one. That's what they said. So it's like you said, it's time based. So it's going to come out if it's ready. It's ready, and if it's not, it won't.
Hello, Xylo. I'm man crushing over Xylo now. I'm blushing a little bit.
Let's have a timeout for Moist
Wow.
So is there anything else you want to say on bind culling?
Yeah, there is. I got a few more things I want to discuss about bind culling, if you don't mind.
I will say though, if we don't see, because I'm being realistic, right? And I'm putting bind culling into my own like SIG schedule in my head. And if we don't see it by the end of the year, I will start to get worried.
Okay. So just so everyone's aware, we'll be doing this new thing now. Okay. So rather than questions being done at the end of the show, we're going to do questions as we go along. So if you fill out the questions based on the topics that we're discussing, you can put questions in chat with a bracket next to it. We'll try and pick up on it, but it's better if you chuck it into the question form that we have, and then Ms. or myself or Moist, whoever, will pick up on it, and then we'll ask the question as we go along. So if you guys, that way, rather than people waiting, because we know that sometimes our podcasts are quite long and people kind of want to get answers to the questions. Waiting 3 hours is a bit much, so we're going to try and introduce the option now where we will read out questions as we go along. Obviously, if it gets crazy, we might not be able to read all of them, but I don't think it's too many people to be able to go through a few questions as we go along. So chuck them in there, and we will go through them as we go along as well. So it's relevant to what we're discussing as well. Cool. So yeah, so for the bind culling, it's just something that someone was saying on Reddit, which I thought was quite interesting. And I mean, we might have discussed it, but it's to do with, just for clarity, to push above other departments, not about the amount of people working only, that I have the thought that 3.1 is a main feature. So he's talking about bind culling being a main feature. The lack of, or better term would be bind culling, that everything would be done to get it done before other features. I would like to hear about what happened. So I think what they're basically trying to say there is they don't understand why it didn't. And I think they did come back and they kind of explained why it wasn't ready because of the testing and stuff.
Bunsen has spammed the link quite a few times. We have actually got it on the document as well, the official response for it.
Yeah, and they gave kind of an official
it just took longer than they thought, and they didn't think they'd get the testing done in time. It's not
which was like that was that. But then what someone else said is the problem that I have, which I kind of think is interesting, is that this is core tech, which means in the name would make you believe that this is more important than some other tech. And if they're struggling to meet the quarterly deadlines, something should be done, even if that means relocating, this is someone's opinion, relocating resources from other departments to keep them all at a balanced development speed. Now, there's immediately the easy answer that I would go back, because I always like to read it out and have a conversation. The easy answer back is to say that they actually had an advert out since March for a network programmer, and it's obviously being hard to get that person in, because they haven't got anyone yet. They're still advertising for it. So it obviously must be quite a difficult thing to get somebody to do this job. It can't be that easy.
Well, not only that, when you do find somebody, right, you can't just throw them at the code and expect them to know how everything works. It's going to take them a long time to get their head around what code has been changed at that point. I'm not a programmer, so I'm just throwing shit at the wall. But in my head, if somebody... When I've looked, I'm just going to use my very limited coding experience, which is just web design. If I look at PHP that somebody else has written, or just generally a website, I'm like, it takes a long time to work out how it all goes together. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you have to leave notes, right? As far as I can remember from coding, people you leave notes for other people to be able to try and understand what you've been doing, right?
Yes.
But on top of that, just because
typically
it's core technology doesn't mean it should be finished first. Like, core technology can be worked constantly, and plus, again, we've said this before, you don't just chuck more people at it and that automatically makes it work and get finished. Oh, why are they building something else when they haven't even worked on the core tech? Because different people do different jobs. You can't just go, well, mate, I know you're designing a ship, but come and have a look at this Bind Culling for me and help get it fixed. It doesn't work that way. So you know, it's got to. There's a limit.
This is going to be an interesting conversation, because I agree with the initial part of what you're saying in terms of, if you hire more people, just throwing them at a task doesn't ultimately make it faster immediately. Completely agree. It won't do it unless they're like super skilled. Then it can do, but usually within a certain amount of time, having an extra person on board will, to a point, will speed up and will improve the process. Absolutely. There's an old school saying, 2 heads is better than 1, is genuinely true.
That's 2 heads. That's not, let's put 10 heads in there, and you keep bashing into each other, and then you can't actually, one of them's cleaning one thing and says, I've already done that, and then you pass into the other one. There is a limit to how many people you can get to work on the same piece of... But
they've got 3 at the moment. They've got 3 people.
It doesn't matter though. Do you
I'm asking you. No, I don't know. I'm asking the question out there. 3 people at the moment to do. Is that a good number for the size of what StarCitizen is trying to achieve? I mean, they're obviously wanting a 4th person. So let's just say, for the argument's sake, they get the 4th person. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone here that does this type of thing. I will be interested to hear. I mean, I don't know. I can't comment on it. I'm not going to comment on it. I'm just going to wonder if other people who are in the kind of industry of networking and stuff like that would be able to say that seems like a pretty good number, or that seems not enough people at all. I'll leave it. I will leave that one, and if you guys just post it in the chat.
Yeah,
for me,
I'm not comfortable having this conversation. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's like for all we know, throwing more heads at it might solve the problem, but at the same time, it might not. So I don't want to sound ignorant.
yeah. Well, this is it. I'm not, and I don't want. I'm not going to bash anything that I don't know, but I'm curious if other people's opinions on this one, because I think it's still a valid conversation. It seems like a lot. It seems like a small number to me when I think of how many people are building the spaceships in the game, you know, and that's kind of like the common thread that I think that people get salty about when I see it on streams and Reddits and all the rest of it. People just see copious amounts of staff, and this is just from a general outside perspective, copious amounts of staff building the spaceships that makes them, surprise, surprise, the money, the 179 million, and then they go, but the game... No, but I know it sounds silly, I'm just saying it, I'm being completely... I don't necessarily agree with this, I'm just saying it. But they go, well, how come core tech like the Bind Culling or game mechanics and all the rest of it seems to have so few staff?
Because
and that's
my response to that is... they're trying to fill a universe with content. They have a universe full of ships they have to create. They have to create God knows how many different brands of Coca-Cola. They have to create so many different manufacturers for guns and then actually model those guns. They have to make so many different types of clothing.
How many parts are there on a ship, right? And just get a ship, break it into components. That's how many people you can have working on different parts, because it doesn't matter as long as they've got specs to work within. Network is one code that's running the whole game. So you can't put the same amount of people that work on a ship on network code. It just doesn't work that way. But
this is the thing. But then I kind of go, the way I look at it, and I hear what Matachi's saying there, and I'm like, again, this is just dialogue, guys. For me, it's then the argument is, again, almost a bit like the chicken and the egg, though. It's like, well, in order to have all of these parts working efficiently and well within the game, you need to then have a really good netcode or a really good networking and all the people to do that, to build that. So therefore, you need those smart people to do that. So surely that means you need more people on it to be able to then. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, what comes first, or do they know almost simultaneously? They are kind of grow together, you know.
I really can't have too many people working on something that's too small. It may sound like it's big because of what it actually affects, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's big that what you're working on. It's like, imagine animating a character's face. Now, it would be not worth having 2 people pushing and pulling at that face to animate it, because it wouldn't. How can you communicate with the person sitting next to you to animate the same person's face? And it's the same as that with the network. I mean, I'm not 100% because I'm into networking, but I know that there's a limit to how many people on a much smaller pipeline. It's one set of thing compared to making the ships. It's just different people. And like Moist said, they're trying to fill a universe full of stuff. So they're not going to tell those people to go on holiday and stop working for a few months while we catch up with core tech. They'll just keep populating and populating the universe. It
comes down to we don't know how that code works. So we don't know if person A working on this part of the code will affect person, if person B is working on a different part of the code, whether they will conflict with each other. If you have too many people working on one piece of code, then surely it will conflict, which is why they won't have...
It's like when you put any patch in, it's like someone changes one thing like a door on a ship and it affects a completely random station somewhere else that's not even in the game yet. So yeah, it's,
I'm pretty sure if they thought that throwing more people, like, we already know that they have that position available and they're looking for somebody, but I'm sure if they thought that throwing more people at it would get it working quicker, they just would. So
okay. And I guess that again, I'm not going to talk about it too much more because I'm not an expert in it, but I'm seeing some of the responses in chat. Like I said, if you've got some questions as well, throw them in on the question form. But I agree with a lot of what people are saying there. Someone was saying about there being not many people who maybe understand the CryEngine code, the fact that maybe people don't understand the edited CryEngine code with the star engine that they've been building or whatever you want to call it. Could you imagine the amount of editing and changing? Like you were saying, they have to come up to speed. So here's my thing: is that maybe I would be curious to know if they have like an apprenticeship scheme, things like that, where they may be training on staff people to maybe
junior, don't they? And
do you think they have? That would be. I'll be curious to know if that's something that they do at their studios and stuff. That would be interesting. If Nicky, you are CIG in chat, do they do like apprenticeships type of things at CIG where they train people to learn there? That would be pretty cool. But that's it. I'm not going to kind of go dwell on it too much more. I think we've kind of covered the key points that Reddit's said with some good answers, guys, and chat as well. Great.
Yay! Omnidirectional serial-based variable culling. Yay!
Yay!
That's what I'm looking forward to.
So for 3.1 then, is there anything like that any of us are excited about for 3.1 in chat as well? Is there anything in 3.1 coming that's your favorite bit? I mean, we know we've lost obviously the bind culling, but is there anything else that people in chat and stuff are kind of and here are excited for 3.1?
I honestly can't even remember what was apart from bind culling, because everybody was just excited for bind culling. I don't actually know what was in there. Like ships, I think. But bear in mind, beacons.
I don't know what's in 3.1. Holy shit! Hang on a minute.
Beacons are as long as they don't get pushed back to 3.2. Beacons are now the thing that I'm kind of looking forward to.
Wasn't there first iteration of the AI subsumption as well going in?
Oh really?
Did I miss that wrong? I'm sure I read that somewhere.
The character customizer. That I am looking forward to.
You get to have blue hair. Woohoo!
They're not, but if they don't have blue hair, I'm gonna be pissed off.
Rage and quit.
I'll just have to change my hair color. But yeah, I think that's.
Tommy was Miss Razor, GUI rework, the HUDs.
Improvements to the HUDs. That would be nice.
Yeah, ESP fixes. Yeah, Johnny, we were just talking about that earlier, and that for me is kind of the thing I'm most excited about. Is if I can see some real improvements with the overall flow.
If they can fix combat.
I didn't realise the Reclaimer was coming in 3.1. The Reclaimer's coming in 3.1. Why did nobody tell me this?
Yeah.
Oh, and the Temporal Cyclone will actually be awesome, I think.
They're trying to get it ready, aren't they? I don't know if that was 100%, but...
Well, it's currently on the roadmap for 3.1.
Yeah.
So...
This is, all...
And they're on 38 of 57 tasks. I'm done.
I don't know.
I have an awkward boner now.
I will wait and see. I mean, does anyone know if it's an Evocati yet? It's not, right?
They have said they're testing...
If it's I can never say no.
I don't know if it's an Evocati, though. It's in the testing period they mentioned in a video, I believe.
Oh, that was the bit I was looking at.
Or maybe it was Nikki. I think it was Nikki.
AI is meant to go to subsumption.
I honestly don't think the Reclaimer will make it. Distress beacons, which is actually advanced HUDs elements, the Terrapin, the Cyclone. I mean, I'm excited about the Cyclone. I'm excited about obviously seeing the Terraplane. The main thing for the beacons isn't so much the beacons; it's more the ability to set other people missions and get them to do stuff and to give you money and that transfer. That's the bit I'm excited about. But we'll wait and see how they implement it.
Yeah, depending on how it's implemented, what I would love to see is somebody creating a rally track for the temporal cyclones. Like just dropping some beacons on a planet and just being able to race cyclones.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
Please, I am looking forward to the Cyclone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I mean, I do absolutely love the Dragonfly, but as we said before, the flight of them isn't particularly great at the moment.
I've given up all hope on the space bikes.
But buzzing along land is always good fun, so having a nice Cyclone would be pretty cool.
Hold on to hope, like Hal's moving castles, little flickering heart. Hold
just
on
like Bind Culling, it's gone.
Don't.
It's gone.
No, hold on to that precious. I still hold on to my precious. It may be covered in salt, but it's still there. But like somehow managing to still be there in my heart. I still have lots of hope for StarCitizen. So it will never go. I refuse. Actually, I've probably hardened it around salt, so it will never be destroyed.
You're going to be an 80-year-old man, right? Sat in a chair, and you'll be like, next year's the year that StarCitizen releases.
StarCitizen 2017.
Never give up.
I still believe. as your teeth fall out, I put back in. I still believe.
Just one
lad. We had a hammer with it. You should be proud to have a planet.
Just one more. Just always. I'm out for real. Okay, Mitachi, man. Thank you so much for the host. Thank you for everyone from Mitachi.
Thank you, sir.
Go give him a shout out, Mitachi. Exclamation so Mitachi. Somebody modded that's in here would be awesome if they could do that for us. Otherwise, I'll do it. Go give him a follow. He's awesome. Great streamer. Very first ever streamer to introduce me to StarCitizen. So yeah, he's a great dude. Space Bros.
We got him to blame for you then, right? Okay, make a note.
Pretty
of that.
much. Yeah. Absolutely. He taught me 2.5 Korea gunfighting.
We joke about that, by the way, right? I actually feel really sad because I saw somebody, I can't remember which thread it was in on Reddit, but there was somebody who responded about StarCitizen coming out. And the guy said, I was actually really looking forward to playing StarCitizen when I retired. And I'm now something like 75 and worry that I'll never get to play it. My heart broke. Like, can you imagine?
There's been a few people that have actually died waiting for it, unfortunately.
It makes me so sad.
Yeah,
oh, that's depressing. Let's move on. I'm sorry, I ruined it.
Anyway,
it is very sad, especially if they bought very big, expensive ships, because like they're just sat there waiting. They could be used by somebody, so it would be good if there's someone somewhere. If you do know somebody that has died,
can I have your shit? Like any MMO thing. Can I have your shit?
Feel free to hit me up with gifts. I don't mind taking dead. It's fine. I'm not. Why? We should start a video campaign. We start like an introduction.
We're not.
We could do like a live advert.
Okay.
Do a live advert. If you know somebody that has died waiting for StarCitizen and has bought spaceships, we know some places where those ships could go and help someone.
Oh my god!
No shame whatsoever.
Wow.
Have you lost a loved one? Did they have a hangar full of ships? We have a home for those ships.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but it's true. It's true. We could do the video and everything. It would be freaking hilarious.
We'll do that for next week's podcast.
It'd be a bit embarrassing for StarCitizen, but it would be quite humorous. So yes, I've certainly lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so there's a few good things there to look forward to though for 3.1. I think still. Yeah. I mean, it's not completely empty.
Love ships.
There's
a lot.
Yeah. This is the kind of
I'm not sure. That's all right. I was trying to not take notice of it, but it's like this is what I'm here for. It's
always something fun. I'm 67. Make me an offer. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. Don't worry.
I'll make you an offer. You need a nurse. I'll be your nurse.
We're going to change the title.
I got sponges ready to go.
Remember when we said this isn't Oxfam?
It's the Asylum funeral services. That's another room. That's the morgue.
I'm going to BritainCon. That's all I'm saying. And I'll have sponges with me.
Oh my god!
My dad has actually said the same thing. He's like, I bought this game and backed it. He goes, but I don't think I'll be alive when it comes out. At least I can have your account.
Give me the passwords. Give me the passwords. I need to make sure it's in the will.
Is there anything in the terms of service about that, actually?
This is what I mean. We all joke about it, but there's actually like, okay,
it's something we should look into.
Right. Okay, we're on the morbid subject of death. I'm going to bring this up as well. This was something I was chatting about, and I put it down here. Death of a spaceman, and we're on the morbid. But this was my thing: is what do you think is the contingency plans at StarCitizen if, for example, Chris Roberts was to fall very poorly, or anything serious was to happen, such as that? I would imagine Aaron would take over and run the show and make it happen, right?
Oh, it's okay. We got Brian Chambers. I have faith in Brian Chambers. He's Jesus. He'll just he'll walk into the offices with a halo around him.
Yeah,
and that will be that.
Has it ever happened in games though? Has there? Because I know in films there's been scenarios where people have been, heading up things, and then for whatever reason, either sickness or through death or whatever, tragic accidents, things have happened, to people. Like, I mean, it happens all to actors.
I can't think of the game, but I mean, I don't. When I'm backing the game.
Okay, I'm gonna say something now.
Game would be finished faster.
In a lot of businesses, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the podcast before, and Underscore actually commented when I mentioned about somebody getting hit by a bus on the way to work, because I actually worked with a guy who got hit by a bus on the way to work. And Underscore commented that it's normal policy for a lot of development companies and bigger companies to have procedures in place for if that happens. Yeah. So I can almost guarantee you that there is a procedure in place in case Chris Roberts falls down a fucking drain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There must be. There must be. There must be a secret op somewhere, piece of document somewhere that's put somewhere. Would be interesting. So yeah, anyway, off the subject of death and all that morbid conversations, and on to Clive Johnson talks about the first implementation of server meshing.
Yay, server meshing.
Go for it. Because I didn't put that in here, so whoever put that in here on this document.
Oh, that was me. I think this is really cool, actually. So this is the first implementation of everybody being in one massive big universe, which is awesome. So I believe the idea is there will be server meshing just our current system. So they'll break it down into chunks, which just in itself is fucking awesome. Excuse my language. So yeah, that's that. Next topic.
But it is awesome. And that's what we kind of going back onto what we were talking about bang combat being sort of not having enough people around. So the more they can mesh the servers and actually bring everybody playing on the same thing, it's definitely an awesome thing.
Yeah, I want 500 people at Port Olisar. It's what I've always wanted.
Well, the record
have room, all of them.
The record's 1,000 people. I think somewhere that's the most number of people that have ever been on in a game scenario. I think on a network together is 1,000 people or something. So 500 people.
It's fine as long as I have i7 8770Ks, then there's no problem.
The trick for me is the seamless transition.
So they're saying that theoretically you should be able to fly very slowly across the servers, which I can't see why it wouldn't be possible.
And I'm curious, will we have an instance, because is that okay? This is my very, very poor understanding of it, but it's not going to be a case of we have lag, if you've got bad internet and I've got great internet, and my server's running at whatever 50, your server again is running at whatever 12 FPS or something, or frames or whatever. Will we have that issue with my bullet? Your bullet comes into my time and suddenly ramps up, and my bullet goes into their server and goes. Really?
Well, no. I think the way it's going to work, there will be a bit like between Mexico and America. There will be a boundary. So as long like
a wall,
there might be there might be If you shoot across the boundary.
You just hide behind the server meshing, and you know, Madness is unloading all his guns on you at the guy, and they hit this wall. It's just like server meshing bastards. I'm not on your server yet.
But Jeffrey asked, Moist Noodle, have you ever been with a man most days? But I would imagine these boundaries are going to be so far away from everything that realistically you probably won't be fighting on a boundary. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, I suppose. Be exciting.
That tickled me pink. That did. That absolutely tickled me pink. Moist, brilliant.
What?
It was just so innocent.
I don't know what I said.
It was just so innocent.
Like
a boundary.
I'm sorry. Was it something offensive? Oh, I don't know boundaries.
Funny. It's because it's a hot topic, isn't it, about America and Mexico, and it's very political.
Is it?
It was just very hilarious that you would say that.
Okay. Is it? Oh, well, the wall's not built yet, so it's fine.
It's not built. Maybe that's what Trump was talking about when he said it. He was actually talking about the great server meshing wall. That's what he was really talking about.
It's supposed to work that they'll put a certain amount of people in one space before
he's going to pay for the wall.
Separate onto a different
StarCitizen will play for the wall. It's fine.
God, sorry,
so yeah, I think the idea is they will break it up into chunks and they will try to fit in as many people as possible into each server instance. So from the get-go, so say Port Olisar, you won't have everybody who is in the game currently at Port Olisar in the same instance, but they will try to ram in as many people.
Well, it's that, but it's also like what you're on about with the combat is the idea is people in the same spot will be on the same server. That's how the server meshing works. So you wouldn't be able to shoot at someone and hit a boundary at a different FPS. You were on the same server. It's just that as you fly away and get further enough distance, you then jump onto a different server that's got less. Get that mouse thing off my face. Got less people in it as you go further away. So that's what it said. The servers kind of get made smaller, and then they mesh together basically. So you're not going to be able to have a battle between server boundaries. Silence.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I know it's just like you just we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
The way that I read it, but I read it when I was very drunk, so take this with a pinch of salt. Is I thought it was going to be separated into like sections, predefined sections, rather than where people are, if that makes sense. But I'm an idiot, so we'll wait and see.
Yep.
First iteration, and bearing in mind that the first iteration is just first iteration, so it's not what it will end up being. So, yes.
Good stuff.
Welcome to the Asylum podcast, everybody.
Sorry, I was just Drummer Dan. You just made me chuckle with your comment. Like I did actually.
This and he just sits there, leaves you hanging after every conversation. It's like,
it's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry. I got distracted.
You can't do two things at once. Don't type in chat if you can't concentrate.
It's fine.
Dan, this podcast is here.
Thank you for. By the way, if you do want to, feel free to. I can do sketches or whatever. You pay money. This picture here earned me. What? This is my concept ship. This got me £100 today, which I was very pleased by. Superb. But then I thought I'd give him a sneaker because I thought the ship wasn't good enough for the £100. So we then got his Super 5 exclusive shoe will be on his way to him.
Wow.
At some point.
Wow.
Wait while he plugs himself out for his business. Okay.
£100.
Is the sponsor section finished?
£100. Feel free. Send him over. Send it over. No problem. Keep sending it. Exclusive sheets. Yes, the podcast. So we'll carry on. Where were we? Oh, yes. Badass control setup. Moist.
Is that his mum? Is that his mum? Oh my God, is that Mrs. Mum?
No.
Oh, is it not your mum? Oh.
Let's move on. We've got this. What do you think? Okay. You just said on here, man. This is you, Moist. This is your thing. What? Next one down, mate. Badass ship control setup.
Oh my God, this was awesome! I love seeing how people set up their rigs.
Oh, okay. I've seen this before. Yeah, this was very cool. I'm gonna bring it on.
This was so cool.
This is very cool.
Please show people. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. This is very cool. I saw this today as well.
No, down. Sorry, I got an awkward boner. Down. This is so nice. I wish I could make stuff like this.
That's my old lady. Designing space-shaped sneakers in his spare time. Confirmed. So yeah, so this guy has obviously taken a really prized table from the lady and cut it up. I'm not sure the lady wasn't too impressed that her fine, ancient, antiqued wooden table
that looks like
was
G
cut
plan
into.
to me.
Was cut into here. He's like, sod it. We'll put StarCitizen controllers into the table. But no, legit, like, it's kind of cool. I was like, I wonder how. It actually got me thinking about like if I could do that and work off of it, like design with a mouse and keyboard on my right, like as if it was down by my hands on my right, because I'm so used to having it on my desk. I don't know about you guys, but I always have it on my desk in front of me, and it's usually a raised position rather than down by my sides of my arm, like down flat. It would be weird. Like I was just thinking about it the other day. I was thinking if I brought up this on the sides of my, it would probably work. I think.
For me, what I noticed was it's really important for me to be able to rest my arm on an armrest for my mouse. The moment I take an armrest away, I'm such a pansy and my arm starts to ache after about 10 seconds. So I've noticed this in VR when I'm playing shooty games as well. Oh no, it's too much. Yeah.
I mean, my chair just goes up high enough so that the armrest is almost just slightly under the desk height. So if I have my arm on my armrest, if I can, it's all about the right height, to be honest. So I haven't had an office type chair without an armrest for ages. I think, like, to be honest, it would be a pain like that all the time.
Well, I've just did it on my one, and actually, I didn't realize, of course, that my expensive chair, I can actually bring the armrests up really high. So,
well done.
It is actually quite relaxing.
Did you know this is a new feature up and down as well?
Yeah, well, I do have that feature. Yeah, but it's.
Does your chair go back as well, Madness? Have you tried that one?
Hang on, let me just check. Yeah, it does. This is where I go straight through the green screen out the back of it. Yeah, no, it does. I knew they did that, but I was just like, the thing is I usually like to. I don't know. Okay, we're slightly talking about random things, but just keep with it. I like to slide myself under the table a bit more. I like to go under. I don't know about you guys. If I'm playing a computer game, I like to go under the table a little bit. I don't want to be too far away from the desk. I like everything to be quite close to
my desk, so I do sit close to it. Yeah.
That's just.
Mine just all works well.
I don't know about you guys. How do you guys? I mean, some people might. I can't do that. You know, some people just really. They do like the whole slouching. Like I remember I had a friend. Like he used to do racing games, and he would be almost so far back, leaning back, he'd be fast asleep. And I remember just going, "How could?" And he was amazing. And I was like, "How can you?" And whereas I'm up, like really intense, like trying to get it, Whereas he was.
That's one of the reasons I got this chair, because my last office chair I did slouch a lot. And I wanted something that kind of not forced me to sit upright, but I had the option of moving it into whatever angle that I wanted, so I could be in a suitable position for what I was trying to achieve at the time.
Wow! We're going to run from this one.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's fine. We'll go back to the walls. You remember we talk about walls? This is a good time to have a wall, maybe. That's fine. Moving on. Are the aliens? Okay, this is my topic now. People that came into my stream earlier. Okay, this is like, oh my god, I'm stuck in the middle. This is a big one. So everybody in chat, I want everyone to kind of participate as much as possible with this one, because I think this is going to be a cool topic. It could end very quickly, but I think it won't. I think this is going to be interesting. Now on Reddit, somebody started talking about the aliens in StarCitizen, and I got me thinking, and I actually kind of agreed with this person. And his comment was, and I'm going to read it out here a little bit, and I was like, oh, I haven't thought about it. He says, oh, hang on. He was saying that he felt that the aliens in StarCitizen were too obvious.
Yeah,
we've got a turtle lizard creature. We've got a bird creature. He's like, move on. We've got a kind of a weird kind of like glowy type of kind of like obvious kind of bad alien that's the baddie. And if you look at Chris Roberts' history in Wing Commander, he had a lion.
We've got a glow. Hang on, whoa, 1 minute. We've got a glowy kind of what? We've got a what?
Yeah, the Vandal. The Vandal. They do that. They change in color. They do changing from one color to another color. They go
clearly.
Red.
Clearly, Chris Roberts has never played Spore,
which was in Outlander. and we've got.
Don't worry, we've
sent him a copy of
No Man. We've sent him a copy of No Man's Sky. Some new aliens are coming soon.
So this was my thing. Was it's like. This is for chat as well. So if you could put any alien type of thing from certain films, genres, games, whatever, what aliens would you like to see potentially, or type of inhabit the world of StarCitizen? That's the kind of that's my kind of question. Like, what would you want to see?
I just want to relive the flubber moment with the maracas where they're dancing.
Flubber. Okay. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. Okay. For me, I'd like to see the I'm gonna have to remember the name of it. The Arrival, the kind of the weird kind of squiddy type thing.
Oh, I haven't actually seen that yet. I do want to see it though. It looks really good.
That was really fresh and like and then there's the creatures, and then the scary creatures from like Stranger Things and stuff like that would be pretty cool. That kind of, I know it's not an alien, but that would be pretty cool. It's got an alien-esque. It's got an alien-esque type of thing. I haven't spoiled anything, have I?
Didn't they say they were specifically going for bipedal?
Space whales,
the right word, right? Because it was easier for them to rig.
At the moment, we're getting basic aliens because you got to fit them in ships. It's got to be easy. I mean, it depends if you're talking about aliens that are going to be traveling and jumping planets and owning cities and stuff like that, compared to aliens which are just going to be monsters and creatures that you're going to find in
We
wrecks.
might see a flying space donkey.
We might, but it's not going to build a city.
Yes. No.
Unless it's going to build it out of shit.
It's just I just agreed with I just thought when I thought about it, I was like, they are a little on the tad on the obvious side, and there's not really, and I think it's to do with obviously they have to get in the ships.
I wouldn't say a turtle was an obvious one.
Well, if you think of,
I would say the Klingons that we're getting are pretty obvious.
Star Trek. If you think Star Trek, I mean, Star Trek had the lizard person, was one of the very first episodes, I believe it was, when Kirk, of one of the famous ones anyway, when he was fighting the lizard dude with a rock. You know that famous, I can't remember what that's called, but that's kind of famous with the lizard person. And then you've got they've always been around, because you had the lizard dudes in the Enterprise, Star Trek again, they had those lizard dudes again. It's kind of I mean, it's not that, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I was just thinking, I wonder what would be the fresh little twist. The fresh twist.
But there's no point saying what's going to be a fresh twist and then asking what famous alien we would like to see. Not really
the crazy thing though, in Freelancer, which
come up with a new one,
Chris Roberts' game,
that's cool too.
We had, sort of a Chris Roberts game. You had the Nomads, which were like these jelly things, which is quite different. Did you ever play it? Yeah, they were literally like, the ships were like jelly things with like a glowing thing in the middle of. They were quite weird.
Jumpgate. If you ever played that, that was similar. Yeah. They had like they were like squids. They're living kind of like ships things. One of them was like squid. Used to call them squids. They had like tentacles and a glowing core. But they were weird. They were all like underwater things. We had one that looked like an eel, one that looked like a manta ray. In the shape of like a manta ray things, but they're interesting things to have seen. I wouldn't mind some living ships. I don't know if we'll ever get that, but like,
do you know what?
Like Farscape,
actual living, Farscape living ship.
Well, it was like the Reapers in Mass Effect were modelled on obviously an original ancient alien species, wasn't there? That were massive. Again, spoilers if no one's played Mass Effect. I do apologise. I was going
to play it tomorrow.
There goes my playthrough. Ruining games instantaneously. Beep. I'd like to, if you haven't played it by now, shame on you is my response to that one. Tough shit. But yeah, and I agree. I would love to see some ships that are alien in, the ship is almost alien, and it's alive and breathing. And yeah, I agree, Miz. That would be awesome. I think one of my favourite ships of all time is Flight of the Navigator. The spaceship from Flight of the Navigator. One of my favourite ship. I loved it when it changes. It's like a ball, and then it like transforms into the racing version. And then I remember as a kid that it was all silver chrome, and the doors open, little steps.
Nowhere. They tried to do that, didn't they, with the young the Scout, wasn't it?
Realistically, though, how fun would it be to have a living ship? Like, you get in and you say, Dave, take me to the shop, and you actually end up at the pub. You know?
Sorry, I've had a few before we went out. It would be, I mean, it would add a lot of different gameplay. Like being able, instead of like sabotaging the mechanics of a ship, you could make a ship ill and things like that.
Oh, the Moya. Yeah, the Moya was great. With the
that
kind
was
of like
from Farscape. That's what we were.
That was the Farscape ship. That was the first time I ever came across a living ship concept.
Yeah. Well, the idea of because I again, Mass Effect kind of stole that a little bit because they had like the ship, the creature inside almost lived with the ship, didn't it? Kind of
I believe there was a pilot for Moya, and only the pilot.
Yeah,
could.
But the pilot was still part of the ship, though, wasn't it?
I believe so. They were connected.
I believe it was like
I'm pretty sure there was a whole storyline with Farscape where the ship became ill.
It did, yeah.
And then in Babylon 5 there was an alien race where they had like a kind of the ship was organic as well, and they would go on board. They were like a kind of a snake thing. They had like a kind of a I can't remember what the race was, but they had like a head like this, and it's like a square at the end of it, and they had like
I vaguely remember that.
And they had like they were very tall, and they used to kind of glide in, and they would kind of, and the smoke would be on the ground, and I think it's because they had their atmosphere. I think their atmosphere was the space. They couldn't live in the same. They had oxygen. Their atmosphere was different, so they had to wear this suit, bit like a kind of tally.
But that would be interesting. If you had a living ship, would you be able to land it on a planet, or would the atmosphere kill it?
Oh yeah, in Farscape, Moya became pregnant. I forgot about that.
She did, yeah. She did.
What a series that was!
What a
series!
She was a slut. She
won't
was.
even ask how she got pregnant.
Any port. That's the way it was. But no, the Voron on the Voron. Thank you, Silet Night Cove. What's up, man? I always know there's the great thing about being in a community of science fiction geeks is there's always somebody here that knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I love. I got people that know Flight of the Navigator to the Voron to Babylon 5 to it's just brilliant. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. Yes. What was I saying? I aliens. No, I mean, from facehuggers to deadly aliens, to ones that kill you, to ones that you can befriend. I can't wait for them to really start to populate the world with more aliens on top of the main races. Just even.
Would you be happy to have like some of these aliens with like much better tech than we would have?
Yes. I think that they should have better tech than we have. I think it should be like a.
I suppose like if you think of like Star Trek, like the original, where they didn't have stealth ships, and then the Klingons like, oh, we're going to learn how to stealth and cloak. I'm not saying we want cloaking and shit. I'm just saying like that, No.
That kind of like massive like planetary ray guns or stuff like that we don't have. Or I mean, I always remember when the Vulcans, like you'd see the Vulcan ships. This is size 7 destroyer. Vulcan ship is like this is the Enterprise. The size like it's our best ship, and then like a size 7 Vulcan destroy battleship just suddenly arrives next to it, and you're like, oh, we've got quite a long way to go.
Just saying, somebody's talking about the Thargoids in chat from Elite Dangerous. Let's talk about Elite Dangerous.
I'm surprised you didn't mention it.
Is that the flower? Is that the flower?
Yeah,
the flower one.
Yeah, the flower aliens. Ooh, scary.
Don't they interdict you?
Yes.
No, I won't go there.
Whoa.
They interdict you.
Somebody, Black Mashu asks, are the Vandal the only aliens that are going to be in Squadron 42? We don't actually know, do we? Because if we're going to be in the military,
they were planning to be, but now we don't actually know.
Yeah,
because they are the main enemy that we've got.
Because we might actually never interact with other aliens purely because we're in the military.
Pirates are going to be
possibly.
Then the Vandal won't. From my understanding, the chapter 1, we're not going to get a huge amount to do with the Vandal. I thought because it's going to be mostly to do with bandit story and all the kind of more human kind of combat stuff, with a hint of the Vandal. For what I understand, the Vandal will become more prominent as you go through the chapters. I don't know if they're going to be a big thing. I don't know. Don't quote me, but I remember someone. I think I was watching Captain's Table.
They changed things a bit, so I wasn't sure.
He was talking about
it. It might be right. We might not even see any. It might be to do with their military career and.
Rancid Bubba asks, how many alien races are there in the StarCitizen?
We have the Tavaran.
3.
We have the Vandal. We have
Xion.
The Xion. And then we have obviously there's another one there's one invisible. There's one that we're not allowed to meet yet.
Okay.
There's a relationship. I think it's to do with a relationship with one of the alien races that I think it's the Xion. They don't allow us to make contact with them or something. They're keeping them back. I can't remember what the name of them is, but I think there's
Prathak says Jean Cornetto.
Banu, did you say that?
And then there's the Banu. Yeah, sorry, we got the Banu as well. So we've got 5. I think there's 5, and there's one that was a bit Banu, Vandal, Tavaran, and I think there's the invisible one. The not invisible one, but one we're not allowed to meet yet. I can't remember the names off the top of my head.
Maybe they're the nomads from Freelance. Space squids.
Gian eats and loving chat. Okay, so yeah, yes, that was
aliens.
That was it, really. I just kind of wanted to talk about aliens, really. For what aliens you guys thought would be quite cool. If you could design any alien yourself, what kind of alien would you design? If you had some sort of creature, what kind of cool kind of, if you could think of like a weird type of creature, you think that would be pretty cool.
But do you mean like one to attack us, or one as a more like humanoid bipedal?
Whatever you want. No, the floor is open. It's not. I'm not going to put any box around you unless you want me to put a box around you. You feel free to be creative.
Something that could transform into inanimate objects.
I'm a tree.
Are you talking about, are you talking a polymorph here?
Yes. I didn't know I had a dragon dildo. Wow. What a nice surprise, Martha. Thank you, Captain.
I think it'd be pretty cool to have like a really scary looking
good point.
alien that looks like really evil and nasty, and they're showing you all these concept pictures, and then it'll be like the Ant-Man where you just zoom out and it's actually just like this big. You see it going, oh my god, I don't want to meet one of them, and then you find out it's like the size of an
it's just like the shadow. You see the shadow.
Yeah. Is that like?
Don't get me doing it. What the fuck? Oh, it's a magnifying glass. Oh, okay, it's fine.
That's like in was it Star Trek? I think the latest one where the guy was chatting with them and they were like arguing, and then they come down and he gets all defensive, and then they turn out to be like this big in front of him. It's
that's what I kind of mean. Like when you see it and all the concept art is like, oh, that's going to be nasty, and it just turns out that it's the size of your hand or something.
yeah. Like some of
it's like when we saw. Yeah, when we saw those things in, I think it was not a 3.0 demo, was it games? No, CitizenCon demo at the end of the CitizenCon demo, wasn't it? Oh, and they were floating along. And like the weeks leading up before we saw them and people were assuming they're going to be like the size of a house or something. And then we saw them and they're tiny little cat things. Yeah.
They're them things.
Them things.
Yep. Do we think we get more floaty things? It's all right. We'll wait till Madness catches up.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at a question. We were asked a question, and I'm preparing the response for this question because this person is asking about bind culling. So I'm preparing. So you guys take the stage if you want to. If there's any.
No, that's okay. Madness, we're fine.
I think Prisoner's just trolling you.
Doesn't matter. I'm ready. I'm prepared for this. This sucker's going down right now.
That's why he's blanked over from what he's got to actually answer.
I'm getting ready to answer him very, very shortly. I need to get one more piece of information.
The object container one.
I can't. No, not googling. I'm there.
Why?
I'm going to answer the first part. I can't answer the second part of this question So basically, he's asked me, can you explain bind culling and object containers? Now, Miz did a really good job of explaining object containers, so I'll let him do that. But I will explain what blind culling. So blind culling.
Blind culling. Okay, you tell us about blind culling, Madness. Please tell me more.
Bind culling. I think I'm not the only one, by the way, that's misspelling it, because I think other people are misspelling it as well. But it is, or occlusion culling is where the client doesn't graphically render things that can't be seen. That will help with the frame rates, but is not the main part of the network optimization. the big problem right now, blah, 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 is a few other things. So there you go. That's what it is. It's the client to do with grant rendering things that can't be seen.
Kind of nailed it.
Get out of town!
Blind Culling is 4.0.
Oh yeah, super smart. I get a drink.
Wow, I shouldn't have said anything. It's gone straight to his head.
That's it. I mean, he did just literally copy paste from somewhere, but it's fine.
Miz, why don't you tell us all about object container
No,
streaming?
why don't I not tell us about object container streaming? Isn't that just the picture-in-picture thing? I don't know. I can't remember.
No, that's something.
No, that's the other thing. Object container. No, we ain't doing that. We did that before. But you want to say that we did that podcast episode 3, something like that. The answer's there.
2 seconds. I got a pregnant lady in a bathtub. 2 seconds.
Right. So while he's doing that,
is she
let's
giving
go
birth?
on to... Yeah, it's a 2 seconds. It's born. Fine.
Pop it out. Right, we're done. Quit your whinging.
Just it's a boy. Right, so we'll start on some ATV stuff. Actually, no, we'll do RTV because there was questions on the Vulcan. So if anyone has any questions on the Vulcan, we watched that, so we know the answers. One of the interesting things I thought it did say was that the drones will also work. I mean, kind of obvious, but the drones will work on land vehicles as well as space vehicles, which is kind of cool. And I mean, did anyone here in chat watch RTV? And did anyone else feel that the answers were, or the questions themselves were a bit like, if you had some common sense?
And it's not even that. I think it was quite vague. And I think then when I was watching it, I got the impression that they're still not super sure about a lot of the stuff that they were asked.
No, I don't know. I think they gave. I mean, they gave as much. They did say that the ship's not due to come out in 2018. So you're talking about technology and things that's not even going to be here for another year. And then at the end of the day, a lot of the questions were like, "Will it fix this or will it fix that?" And the ship's small. We know, like, you don't need to ask them whether this ship is going to repair as well as the Crucible, or whether it's going to refill as much as the Starfarer would refuel. It's kind of obvious. It's a small ship that will do small.
Can I use this ship to refuel a javelin?
Well, I'm sure one of the questions was, will it repair a capital ship? Yes, it will. If there's a little fucking stone hole in the side of a capital ship. Otherwise, no, it won't.
Well said. That was reverse the verse, everybody.
That was basically reverse
that was pretty much reverse the verse this week.
Reverse the verse.
One of the interesting things, although I'm sure they did mention it before, was that although it's got 4 drones, you can only use that. There's like 2 stations within the ship, so you can only use 2 drones at a time. However, you can set a drone up to say go and repair. And this is what I don't quite get, because we were talking about this before in terms of how much input you're going to have. But it's like you're going to be able to send the drone out and repair, set it off to repair. Then once that one started its repairing duty, you can then go and get to the next drone, rig that one up, tell it to go and repair a different section. That will go and then repair. So you could technically use all 4 drones at once, but sequential. So you've got to have them all lined up into a job, and then one's done, you can call it back and do that. So there's 2 stations, and they can either be both controlling drones, or one can be controlling the turret, while the other one's controlling the drones. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was obvious, really. Just saying.
Yes.
Pretty much.
I don't think there was anything else in RTV, was there?
I mean, RTV was... normally it's quite good. Last couple of weeks have been pretty good, but I think Miz pretty much covered it, to be honest. There wasn't anything that I was like, "Ooh, that's really, really clever." I didn't think about that. It was very...
First question, Bunsen, was, can it repair itself? And the answer was yes. So the repair ships are going to repair the repair ships, to answer your question.
I'm not super excited by the Vulcan. I'm glad it wasn't just another combat ship, but I'm glad it's not just another combat ship. But
yes,
for me, it's just a bit bland, really. I don't know.
It's just too expensive. For me, is what it is. It's just too expensive for what it is. I'm not. I don't know. I'd rather spend the money. If I'm being honest, if I had $200 to spend, I'd rather buy the Prospector to do the mining or something rather than to have that ship. If I'm being honest, and if I want to do salvage, I'd rather have a Reclaimer. You know,
yeah, but the point is it's going to be no, it's not even a salvage ship.
But I think it probably will have its place, like for salvaging, for example. It'll be really handy for if you just need to nip in somewhere to really say, like your ship has been taken out and you. Have a specific engine that you belong to your granddad. You know, your dad. It was in your dad's ship, and your dad has passed away. So you've got his ship.
Where are we going?
You want that engine back? Then you can just, and it's a combat zone, or you're being hunted. Then you can just nip in and just undo the screws,
get blown up,
and get the engine out, and then go really quick. Rather
you just watch all these Reclaimers going pop, all these Vulcans going pop, pop, pop. I'm just like gonna be looking forward to just zipping around, going another one bites the dust, another one. They're just sitting there, not doing anything, just flying around, taking them out. It's gonna be great fun. I can't wait.
I just don't like the idea of drones. I'm not that keen on the idea.
Well, they did say you can fly and repair at the same time, providing that the drones are going to have a limited speed, so you can only go it's like, as again obvious, you're not going to go like Quantum or Afterburner and have these drones following behind.
I made this mistake on I'm going to mention another game, EVE Online. I used to have a drone carrying ship in that game, and very often I would have micro warp drives on my battleship, and I would charging in, then realize I ejected or sent out my drones like several kilometers back, and they're actually quite far ahead behind me, so I'd end up like with no defense whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know. I think EVE Online is the thing that put me off drones for life, so I think that's why I'm not that into that.
I mean, my experience with drones in a space game is, besides Doctor Drones hitting me with grenades and Star Marine, it would be actual drones in EVE as well would be the mining drones. So they're the ones that would go out and do all the lasers, and then they would fill up everything and then come back to the main big ship. You know, that's kind of my experience with drones. And yeah, a bit of combat with drones, but I'm not a huge fan of drones because it can't. But I can understand. I can understand them. Not a huge fan, but I get them. I mean, I love the idea of drones more for like exploration, and a bit like when you play Subnautica, you have a camera. So rather than a drone, you have the camera drone, and then you can go into like hostile areas, and you obviously have a range on them and stuff, and so you can scan out stuff and check things. I like that.
I think that would be awesome. Having drones to go into a direction.
Were they not suggesting? I'm pretty sure they suggested that the third party camera, that's supposed to be a drone in the long term, right?
Well, with the camera setups and
pretty sure they suggested that.
What's the screen? I'm really without the information on my head. There's a technology that they've done, which is the rendered screen technology.
Picture in picture. Yeah,
that's the one. Thank you. So that would be now doable, I would imagine, with a drone camera setup. I can't see why they couldn't do that.
I think that's how the news van's supposed to work. I think you'll find that's what we're going to get. We're going to get drones with the news van, which then makes it interesting. Is do you use the news van to like as an exploration ship to go and look at these salvage things without you actually getting out and seeing what's in the ship? You could send in these little drones to go and get the video feedback and see if it's safe to go in there. It'd be quite fun.
I know that. Yeah,
Magic Mo actually used the correct terminology, which is render to texture. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the one. These guys are talking about picture to picture, but yeah, render to texture. That was the one I was thinking. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. You guys, brilliant. Love you guys. What were we talking about? Oh yes, Jump Point.
Oh, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. It came out today, right? I think.
Did it? The magazine.
Jump Point.
Thing.
Yeah. The magazine. Not Jump Point. It says in Jump Points. We're away from.
I do like the. I do like the new layout of it, though. It looks a lot more magazine-ish. It's just tidier, I think.
I actually haven't seen it. Is Jump Point? Who can get access? Can we all get access to Jump Point?
Subscribers.
Subscribe. Oh, that's why, because I don't subscribe anymore. No more money that they're getting from me until we actually have content and game mechanics working.
I did have a super quick flick through.
Finish that sentence, please.
And I don't think there was anything super exciting in there. They talk about Levski. They talk about some of the artwork for Levski. More Levski. They talk about the environment, so it's mostly all art stuff. They talk about the Terrapin. And that's it.
That's about it. Oh, okay. Well, the Terrapin. Does that come with a drone?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna put it out there now, CIG. Can we get an exploration drone for the Terrapin that attaches to it in the butt area? Because we know how good you are at taking drones out of and things out of ships. But it would be cool to have one on that. I think.
I don't think it would have the space though, because the Terrapin is considerably smaller, I think, than the Vulcan.
Just attach it to the bottom or the top or something.
Just get a bike rack. Chuck a bike rack on the top. It'll be fine.
Just like bit of blue tack.
You know those elastic thing with the hooks on the end? Just stick it on, strap it on, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Point made. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now this goes back to my kind of updates like ATV, RTV. I know that's what they go towards. Bunsen, thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. Some people said to me that they go towards Jared's boat gas bill. Your subscriptions go towards that, but I was like, I'm not so sure.
Gas bill.
His gas bill on his super boat or whatever. He's always on his boat, isn't he? Anyway, that was Reddit. That's just Reddit being naughty. This is something. Okay, so somebody was saying newbie to StarCitizen. And this is one of the things again. It's another person asking, I love the game. I enjoyed it. I played it on a free weekend. When is the next free weekend? The next free weekend to play again. And it still gets my goat that we still don't have a roadmap or something to say. I don't mind it if they have a plan of it down and they say this is when it's going to be released. It's just me, but they say okay, in March on the so date we intend to have this weekend there will be a free weekend for people to play StarCitizen. I really don't mind it if they then, when it gets close to that date, they say, guys, well, we're actually, due to the cycle of things, that's going to be a bad weekend. We're going to have to postpone that weekend to the following weekend or the 2 weekends. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That's fine because we know it's then coming in 2 weekends. But the fact that we've got nothing on that, it really frustrates me because it's like, come on, I want to give new people true dates.
I thought we would have got it for 3.0, but it's been ages since we've had a free fly. But the only reason I can think that we haven't is because the servers aren't stable. So there's no point getting a ton of new people coming in and saying, look how brilliant this is. But you get 1 FPS. So
I thought that we were going to get it for 3.0, but quite frankly, I'm glad we didn't. And I don't care about a free weekend because until we get better performance, I am not going to be getting any or suggesting to any of my friends that they play StarCitizen.
No, I agree. A lot of people have said that. They said, look, unless you're coming into it completely aware that this is not a game at the moment, then you can go and buy it. But otherwise, if you're expecting to come in and get some experience and play it, then don't bother for the moment. And I know that's like not giving. We're not saying don't ever join StarCitizen. It's just like, yeah, wait for the free fly because the chances are by then they'll give us a free fly when it's stable enough to actually allow people in for a free. And I think that's why we haven't got it, because it would make no sense to not give us a free fly for 3.0 other than the fact that it just wasn't in a good state when it first dropped.
Okay. And the second point, which kind of backs up what you're saying, is the second question this person says is, what about the current state of the game? Big question mark next to it. I've read some posts that saw that the game has got worse with the recent patch. So obviously this person played it before, really enjoyed it. They really enjoyed the experience in Arena Commander and all the rest of it, and they were hoping to have another free weekend to play it again, obviously with the update. But they don't know one, and obviously they're not sure about the current state of the games. And then the third question, which I thought was interesting, was again about game packages, and they said which is better, the Mustang or the Aurora? Again, these are very common questions, but I always like to bring them up again because we have new people come onto the show, and new people generally, it is a what is the best starter ship? I always say the Mustang Alpha combo pack with Squadron 42 is the best package deal available because you get 2 AAA games plus you get a $5 more free.
Yeah. Is it still doing that now? No, especially now they got rid of the 15th thing. Because it was always it's not the better ship, but it's the better package.
It's the better package. And that's the thing is trying to explain that to somebody is always quite tricky. And also because the Mustang's getting a rework. That's a very big rework. You know,
True. It could be better with it,
It could be better. It might not be, but you still. The main reason is you get the £5 upgrade for free extra value versus the Aurora MR. So it's like, well, you know, but then people don't know that, and again, it comes back to the web page information being poor for these people. They should not have to be coming onto Reddit to ask these questions. In a way, I feel like this should be really well answered in the web pages. For
this is going to sound really brutal, but if somebody, as far as I'm concerned, the website is crap. And the way that the store works and the pricing structure is crap. But if people can't work out either of those, they probably shouldn't be trying to play StarCitizen right now.
well, no, I don't. No, they shouldn't.
I don't think the website should be telling you that this one's worth $5 more.
No,
it makes no sense why that one is worth $5 more. They're both your
I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. I am not going to suggest to any of my friends that they touched StarCitizen for, I think, a long time yet. Because the couple of times that I've tried to get friends into StarCitizen, however hardcore sci-fi geeks they are, and however much they've always wanted a game like StarCitizen, when they see videos of it on YouTube, whether it be an actual official trailer or from somebody like Board, when they actually play it, and they play it at 5 FPS, even when I've warned them how crap it's going to be, it's always a huge disappointment, and they never have the patience. So I'm just no more until we have more of a game for me.
I agree.
I wouldn't recommend this game to anyone that I know that's asked me about it, because I tell them, if I know them in a way, if I know them well enough to know that they want to play games and they don't have my patience, you know, they would do.
I mean, I've sold the game to a couple of people, and then they've just kind of gone back to me. Well, they tried it, and then that was it, and now they just keep messaging me every now and again. So is it worth me trying now? I feel like they're kind of going, why did you sell me this package?
Yeah, I'm fed up with are we there yet messages.
Yeah. and they're not asking to be horrible or anything. It's just like, shit, it's been 2 years since you told me to get into this game. Surely there's something for me to play now, and you're like, not really.
Yeah.
I have patience. Yes, and yes, I do have patience. A little bit of patience, not much. I'm still here, aren't I? I'm still playing the game, still streaming it, still doing
realistically though, it's like when I asked you guys, I think it was last week, whether if the game collapsed overnight, would you feel like you would have got some sort of value out of it anyway? If it did, I think I still would have had some sort of value, because I love following development.
I do, yes. And actually, that would be the only downside for me, is the people that I told to get into it that haven't got value from it. You know, sorry.
Sorry about your. Sorry,
guys, but I had a great time.
Sorry.
I'll just jump on it while I was playing.
Well, if you don't like the game, you know, feel free to gift me the spaceships. It's fine. It's not a problem. At discount price, I'll take them off your hands for half the price.
So you want them off the dead people? You want them off the people that have lost interest?
I'll take them off anybody. Anyone willing. Actually, here's another thing. So we're talking about the Vulcan. The loanership for the Vulcan is the freelancer. Okay, so this is the bit that I kind of was a bit curious about. This is it's $225 depending on tax, which country you're in. So in the UK, it's 220, 215, whatever it is, dollars for the Vulcan. The loanership's value is $150. So there's $75 difference there in terms of the value for the loaner that you're not getting. So I was like, well, CIG, you could do a bit better of that. Maybe the person then should get a second ship. Should maybe get a land vehicle. Maybe they should get the Cyclone as a loaner as well.
They don't do it off value, though, do they? They do it off what's the closest thing. And there's nothing really like that. Like, for example, take a look at the Carrack. The loaner for the Carrack is the Constellation Andromeda, right? And the price difference,
no, Aquila.
I think,
you
is
get the Aquila.
Aquila.
You get the
sorry.
Aquila, which is the
with the exploration variant
ship,
of,
and which then gives you the rover, and you also get a Hornet.
Oh, really? So you do get multiple things? Okay, then I cannot defend that whatsoever and completely agree with you.
Don't you get the Hornet because of the Merlin, though? Like, because it doesn't. No, sorry, you get the Hornet because it can't be taken into Arena Commander. That's why.
Arena Commander. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ship that they're giving you as a replacement can't be taken into an Arena Commander battle, so therefore they give you the Hornet. That's the only reason it's not because they're giving you two ships.
Maybe is the freelancer able to go into Arena Commander?
Yeah.
Yeah, so therefore you won't get the Hornet then.
No.
But if it could be another ship, what would you choose?
I think the freelancer can go into Arena Commander.
I've just said to you, I would give them the. I just give them ships that are going to be relevant to the patch. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I always go with. I always go with give them ships relevant to what you want people to play and the patch. I was saying this on my stream earlier. I firmly believe CIG should. Again, this comes back. This comes back to my comment on. I get thrown back in my face all the time when it comes to funding the game. You know, you're not buying a ship, you're funding the game. So I'm like, I always come back to like, well, if I'm funding the game, then I should be able to enjoy as much of the game as possible on the patches that you want me to test things out. So if you want to test out cargo, give me all the fucking cargo ships for free to play. If you want me to test out the combat, give me all the combat ships for free to play. If you want me to test out the land-based vehicle systems, the hover, give me all of them for free. I've already paid my funding the game money. Let me test it out. I'm not buying the ships to go into the game going forward when the game goes from live state or whatever, you know. Give me the. I am an avid backer tester of this game. Give me the opportunity to do the best I can for the game as its current stands. That's the way I look at it. So that's my kind of counter argument to getting tired of being thrown in my face about buying ships versus funding the game. That's my thoughts. Just give everyone the ships for every patch so they can do it. They do it for the PTU, so why not do it when it goes live as well? When the patches go live. Just keep it like that. Yeah.
I mean, there's technically, as far as I'm aware, no reason why they can't just let you have, say, give everybody a cutlass.
I assume they do it because they're trying to encourage sales, but when the mechanics aren't really there, like, it wouldn't encourage, like, the dream of a ship is what encourages me to buy shit, not kind of a ship that's...
It's there for that, yeah. It's there.
Yeah, it's just the thing that and it comes back. Then it comes back to the, you know, it's like, and that's my point. Is it's like, well, you can't. It kind of feels like they want it both ways. It's like we don't want it to be about buying ships, but then when you actually challenge them about, you know, we're funding the game, and they go, it is about buying. It is about buying ships. It wasn't
about buying ships.
So then, but then we get the argument thrown back is. In us, it's that whole kind of, they're in a beautiful place of almost like, it feels like diplomatic immunity. It's the Trump card, you know. It's like whenever you can't say anything negative like towards them being money grabbing or whatever. It's like, well, you're not actually buying a ship, you're funding the game. And then when you say that in reverse to them, it's like, well, you know, it's they're covered on all bases, and it pisses me off a lot. So yes, that's my thought on that one. Yes, where were we? We're on loaner ships. On loaner ships. I was just the loaner ships. I think they could do a better deal on and even if they just made subscribers have more ships as well. I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Considering it's something that I think a lot of the community feels quite strongly about. For at least like the vocal people on Reddit seem to complain about this a lot, and I'm really surprised that they haven't done more to appease people up to this point when it comes to the loaner ships. They seem to have done a fairly crap job. So.
I mean, it's like when they chucked the cutlass with the rework in. It's almost like you feel like saying, "Well, let everybody fly it to show off. You should be proud of it. Look, we've made it fucking awesome now. Everybody go and enjoy it. Yeah. Everybody go and enjoy it." And then that will encourage sales on a different level because people will go, "Shit, this is better than I thought it was going to be." Right, I'm getting one of these.
Yeah,
exactly. I want this ship, and then and they don't have, and they can cycle it. So the next patch. You don't have all of the flying ships. You no longer have your freelancer in your hull. You no longer have the whatever. You have the salvage, the mining ship for that patch. You get to enjoy it. You get the reclaimer, whatever. You know, we get to. I know maybe the reclaimer might be too big a ship for everyone to have, but you could maybe make the reclaimer a loner target ship for money in the game and make it a very high amount of money so that people work their asses off in game to then get the reclaimer to play. And you could probably make it, I don't know how many billions or million UEC, and people be working their asses off so that they can actually get, and it would be like a mini game within that patch, so they can then work really hard, get the money, and then they have reclaimers. And then they could see how stressful it is on the server. Like, you know, there's like 15,000 reclaimers flying around or whatever, and people having fun. I just feel they could just, it would be a very simple thing to do in my head, anyway.
Dirk Golden says, I think there should be a free ship rotation. The problem with this, and we discussed this when 3.0 came out. When 3.0 came out, we ended up with a really crap ship for 3.0 as a subscriber ship. I can't remember what it was, but it was just something completely crap.
Oh, they gave us the Retaliator, which has 0 cargo space for as a cargo. And you can't, for a cargo patch, you had the Retaliator, which is a bomber. So, a bomber. Combat's rubbish. Think
having a rotation won't necessarily work, but just having them be smart and choose ships that are appropriate for that patch, I think would be... It's
common sense. It's just common sense. It's just to take a little bit of time, have a little bit of thought, and just think what's coming out. Mining, you know, when it is genuinely coming out, and go, guys, what's coming out? Okay, mining is definitely going to be in. That's definitely there. Okay, cool. We'll get prospectors, everybody will get cargo running ship, everybody will get so-and-so ship. Everyone's going to be able to then really go out, really test the shit out of StarCitizen for us. And then, you know, when the next patch is gone, people will be like so used to having it that maybe if they haven't bought it and then, whoa, guess what? It's gone. They'd be like, holy shit, I really love my freelancer. I grew to love that in the last patch. And then they go and buy it. Or they go out, you know, they say, oh, well, I really want to have that ship, so I'm happy to pay the extra money to get it.
I did not care about the Cutlass Black whatsoever until I flew somebody's in the PTU. And then I flew somebody else's in the PTU and absolutely loved it and bought one. You know, I think that's the point we're trying to make.
Yeah, that's. I just think that giving people access to more ships to play for longer periods of time wouldn't damage.
There's different ways of making money, yeah. It's not all about just, you know, flaunting a ship in front of you and the only way to get it is by paying for it. Sometimes try before you buy does actually work.
Yeah. And set the target for a loaner ship that we could actually earn a ship in game and make it big. It could be a big ship and a lot of money. That's almost unattainable. People will grind. There'll be people that will work sleepless nights to try and get that reclaimer who would love, and they will be keeping that server active with people all the time, which would be great for the game. Keep it buzzing.
I mean, if you've only got like an Aurora and you go into this patch and want to do cargo, I know it can take cargo, but you don't see the cargo. It's kind of, you know, you're limited before you go, well, I'm not playing anymore. Like you said, actually giving them another ship to play that they might enjoy playing, or a multi-crew one. I think just like if the new ship that's just been done is the Cutlass, then give them that, because it gives them a ship that they can go in, work with other people, do some cargo runs, do some picking up odd pieces of crate, because you can't pick up crates and stuff with the Aurora. You can only do the designated going to a terminal and transfer cargo that way. You can't go and find stuff on a wreck or anything. Because unless you just, I mean, you can dump it behind your seat, but you know what I mean? You can't put it in the hold properly. So it does limit to people that haven't got all the extra ships to do anything.
I see, like, Junk says a really good comment. He says here, like, to defend CIG, many players are happy to loan ships out to new players. I think that's one of the greatest things that StarCitizen players do, but I don't feel that if they're not playing and there's not the ships there, then there's never that guarantee. If there's not enough people on the instances, it could be just full of Aurora pilots. However, I don't think that responsibility should fall upon us. I feel that responsibility should fall upon CIG. As much as I think it's noble of us.
Them out, why can't CIG?
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I just feel like it's just a little bit, I don't feel that responsibility should really would be on us to do that. They should really be taking the reins on that. But it's great and noble, and it's wonderful that we do that. And I think it's one of the best things about the StarCitizen community, where you can just say in chat, somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I really would love to apply the Cutlass," whatever. You just say, "Yeah, I've got Cutlass. I'll spawn it for you. There you go." But I'm less encouraged to want to do it these days because of the weight.
But here's the thing.
For some of these ships, pain in the ass.
When my friend Cecil, I bought him a package, I think for Christmas, and he only has an Aurora. So obviously, Cecil. Cecil. So we want to do stuff together, which means we need to get him armor, we need to get him weapons and stuff like that. The rest of our group, they have Cutlass Blacks, so we all make the money quite quick, but him and his Aurora, he's making money incredibly slowly. So to try and be smart, I tried to give him my Aurora, but for some reason, well, there is no way for him to claim ownership yet of that Aurora, so he can only
trade with it now.
He can only, yeah, exactly. He can't do anything with it other than fly it. You know, so if we did have the option of choosing our own subscription ship each month, you know, at least you would have that option. You know, that would be
great. It would
really
be great.
nice.
Or just give us the ability to buy bloody ships in the game. To be honest, that would be fine too. Or at least a selection that are relevant for the game as well. I've always said this before. If you're not going to do that, make it so that we can actually buy the ships in-game with their UEC that are relevant to whatever the patches that we earn.
If you can buy in-game with just in-game credits from trading and working your way up there, then I think everything would be more on point.
Yeah.
Don't worry about free ships. That's fine. If you want the bigger
That's
ships,
3.2, right?
Then
We're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, do it like that. If you want to test that out,
Unless
that's
they
fine.
push
But
it
otherwise,
back. I mean, it was supposed to be sooner, and then they pushed it.
It
back.
was meant to be 3.1. We were supposed to be getting it for 3.1, and that's been pushed back to.
I'll see it when I get it, but
for now, I just feel
till June, isn't it? So anyway,
yeah,
we'll move on from that.
Anyway,
I think we've said what we got to say from it.
Question. We have a question from JPEG Industries to Moist. I think it's for you because he's referring. Is that cotton candy on your head? If it is, can I have some?
Oh no! Oh no! I can't get it. By all means, glomp my head.
And we have another question for Malkiri the 8th, and he says, "How are you three approaching orgs? Generally, a great, very gently. I'm approaching orgs, nice and stealthily in my hands up." But the question is, what he means is are we approaching? It says small, medium, and large, and how many of you will be in associated orgs? PVE, PvP, RP. He's just curious.
For me, I'm not really approaching orgs. I'm a member of TEST purely because of Captain Richard at this point, but I don't think that's going to be a permanent thing. I'm a member of WTF for Sources Pirate Org, but again, I don't know if that will be a permanent thing. Typically, what I found with EVE Online is that the gameplay that I really enjoyed was guerrilla style warfare. So I will probably end up, if I do combat stuff, being part of a small group because I like playing games with friends, and I don't like it being too sort of regimented, if that makes sense. So I'll probably go for smaller orgs personally.
It's cool.
For me, I've never liked. I've come from an MMO background, so for me, I hated the big ones that just hoover everybody up, and it's like there's no feeling of like being joined together, and like you're in a guild, but when there's so many that have just been like, oh, do you want in, and they just add you into the orgs, and I don't feel like you're in a team or anything. It just feels like you're flying solo. So it depends on what you define by small, medium, and large, but I would say small to medium. In terms of, as Moist said, so like the people that are in it, you can have a laugh, you get on a bit better than just having so many random people that you don't know. So that's definitely the way I'm going. Probably, I don't know. I'm looking at maybe making my own org anyway, and just keeping it a bit smaller. But that's not 100% yet. Unless something the way I want to play comes along, and I see something better. But at the moment, I've got a few people interested in doing the same thing. So probably running my own, and all three, I think, from PvE, PvP, and maybe some roleplay, depending. Light. So there we go.
I play, when it comes down to the question, I'm more in the small org. I mean, I'm a solo org myself. I just play predominantly solo and associate to a few combat friends. Mainly because I don't play well with others. It's just because I tend to have a nasty habit of shooting people in the back of the head. I don't know what it is. I just tend to. Some days I'm just in a mood where it's a sadistic side of me. I can't help it. And like Mac was the other day, was driving around in his Rover, and I decided I'd want to steal his Rover. You know, that's the problem. So.
Okay, so I'll mark you off of joining my org.
It's generally there's that, but I can't control it to a point. But there's just some days when I don't. So for me, it'll be small org, solo org. I really want to do kind of more solo bounty hunting, and I'd like to do farming and chilling. But then I'm kind of going to go completely the opposite. I'd love to do an org where. The reality is I want to fly on some of these massive ships, okay? And you're going to need people to fly properly on like these Idrises. I would love to be able to, you know, rock around on an Idris and stuff like that. So I'll have to find, I think, a large-ish org that runs that. Just to kind of, I don't know.
We'll I like the idea because I've got a couple of nothing the size of an Idris are up, but you know, I've got some ships that I'm probably not going to have enough people to play with, but I love the idea of just approaching some people that I feel comfortable having on my ship, that I have a relationship with. Say, you know, we've worked together in the past. We need a couple of extra crew members. Are you guys on board? You know, I don't think you necessarily have to be in a big org for that.
Well, I think he makes a good point because he said, like, how will you be in terms of associate orgs? And I think that's more likely. So if you want to do the big stuff or capital ships, then a good way is to get a few small orgs together or associate with a bigger org that you can, you know, you can do that sort of gameplay with. And depending on what you as an org, as your smaller org wants to do, what your roles are, like your bounty hunters, what would depend on what sort of bigger org that you might associate with, I think. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Mr. Coffee, I'm just saying now there's only one way to get into my comfort circle, my friend.
You know,
and you'll be at BritainCon if you want to get into that little circle of his.
I do have to work well with others to be able to at least do things. So I will have to be fairly decent, but I can't do it for too long. I couldn't. That's why there's too much, like with the orgs and stuff. This politics is horrendous. And people board gamers make the worst politics as well. Not you called board gamer. I don't mean you directly. I mean just generally board gamers. They make the worst. Oh, by the way, welcome board. The
problem is, unfortunately, it takes all sorts to make the world go around. And I play well with some people, but I don't play well with most of society. So. That's why I need my small, sort of comfortable circle of friends, because they're the ones that don't get insulted when I make dick jokes.
Yeah. Make dick jokes.
Oh, well done, Madness. You are listening.
I was checking. I was having a bit of a moment with chat.
Hulk's going, hang on. He said dick jokes. Oh, dick jokes.
Yeah, way got the dick jokes. So yeah, okay. So that was carry on. We'll carry on. Oh, this was a good picture. I don't know about anyone here that's fathers, by the way.
I'm nervous when you talk about pictures.
Don't share it.
Okay, now this isn't cool. This isn't my kid, but this was on Reddit, and somebody was saying how like his little kid, and it's got me thinking.
His little brother.
Like my little boy is not my little brother. My little boy is 3, and potentially this game could be another 5 years. So that's going to make him 8. My little boy could potentially be very competent dogfighter. I'm hoping within the next few. He could be my wingman that I need.
Is awesome.
I'm like.
I want to say that posture is all wrong.
It is wrong, but
give him a booster seat. But no,
so it could be multiple madnesses.
As a kid, though, when we
there are some in seriousness, there are some amazing pros to this. At the end of the day, you can say to him, "Look, you're my wingman, and if you don't protect me, you're grounded, you little shit." I'm taking your phone off.
You go to bed. You protect my ship, or you go to bed. These are the choices.
It will all
we used to always joke about that in like normal MMOs, though. It's like you just get the kids to learn to gather resources and things like that, so you can craft, and they just leave them to it. They'll come back and you.
I do love the idea of having a kid.
That kid particularly.
I want that child.
I want that. Find your sticks as well. I can't even do that myself. I want that kid.
Wow, this got really dodgy really quickly. Let's move on.
We
don't work for Oxfam.
Magic
Let's go.
Magic Mo says, "Will I shoot him in the back of the head?" Yes, probably. But the truth is that they'll probably shoot me in the back of the head first. That's the reality because I'll have trained him to do that.
I mean, come on. If it's Madness's kid, it's gonna do it first.
If I'm ever around Madness, I'm not gonna wear anything shiny or fly anything shiny.
No, spandex murder is an Olympic sport. In the Madness arena, that's for sure. It is an Olympic sport. So if I see any shiny gold spandex is running around, I get a shotgun twitch. Oh, sorry, mate. My mistake. Bang. If anyone's watched my streams, it does.
It'd be like I've just been cleaning my gun out. Can you check that the barrel's clean for me?
just it's a game. It's funny. It's a laugh. It's all good stuff. Unfortunately, when Death of a Spaceman comes into play, I will not do that to friends because that might be a bit of a no go for friends. Really, it won't be friends for very long. Shooting your friend.
I had a friend who raged at me because I kept killing him in Grand Theft Auto 5. We'd known each other for like 4 years by that point, and I haven't spoken to him ever since. I pissed him off that badly, so I learned a valuable lesson from that experience.
Well, I'm hoping that StarCitizen will be like when I was growing up, and I think that's the beauty of it. I think a lot of people here will be the same. Is that when I grew up, it was the Chris Roberts type of genre of game. It was the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. It was Wing Commander. It was joystick games were a thing when I was growing up, and it would be great for my little kid and for other people's children or whatever, boys, girls, whatever, to be able to enjoy in a way kind of the experience that I had, which was joystick computer games. I think that's quite special considering they did really die out for quite a long time. Yeah, okay, but by the time
I've been enjoying 5 FPS.
5 years, 5 years from now, it will be better, I'm sure. Please, CIG sort it out. And then we've got what does he say? No, that's not going to do that. Oh yeah, here we go. This is exciting. This is really cool, right? Okay, this is genuinely. When I saw this, I was like, "That is freaking cool." Did anyone see this?
Yes.
No, I was telling Jaylee that I wanted a war truck. Now, ignore the fuel on the back of this, but I'm already looking at going, I got some ideas for some gun mounts and some serious smile grins on the front here and some like evil spike tires with blades maybe sticking out the side of it and some serious exhausts coming off the back here.
It actually doesn't look that far off a modern SP self-propelled gun.
Seriously, like I am pumped for this. Thunderbirds a go. I'm just like get some seriously military version of this would be awesome with a full turret sitting on top with a guy like kind of railgun racking it up, just like that would be just awesome. Sorry, I had to add the sound effects. Got me very excited when I saw this.
I wasn't there until you added the sound effects, and then I was like, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's what you need. You know, the guy that pops up
with the shells going.
Like, yeah. Just like awesome. Or you could have like in what's it called in Mad Max, the guys on the pendulums kind of tilting on the sides so they can kind of like ready to kind of like jump on your other vehicle and stuff, you know. All weighted kind of things like witness ready to jump in. All the
therapy, a farmer version that sprays animal crap.
Oh yeah. But talking
level, your weapons, I want a sprayer on the back.
But what was quite cool about this is it is obviously this is a refueling truck. So maybe we'll get land-based refueling vehicles soon.
Well, that would be quite cool.
Yeah.
And that would enable you to be able to take out some of your vehicles from maybe I don't know. I just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I'm wondering what vehicles will be able to hold a ship, a vehicle of that size.
Well,
I don't know. I do wonder how the mechanic would work. So, do we have starfarers that take fuel down to tanks on planets or whatever, and then they go from those tanks to the ships?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we are going to round out. I just realised. Thank you for that reminder, Miz. We have just looked at the time. We are running. We're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, it is quite late. I'm falling asleep.
We're going to wrap. We are going to wrap this up this evening, guys. If there's any quick questions, throw them in now into chat. ATV, we can wrap up super quick if you want to.
People. They added more people to the Idris.
Yep. I mean, ATV was a lot of. It's nice to see some nice things in there to look at, more pretty things to watch, but it is something we've actually discussed a lot before, which is the AI subsumption a lot more. Talking about how well the day to night cycle, how they're all going to have their own lives and different orders that they can do. There's a couple of really nice bits were in there that was something to do with like the eye tech, so that the NPCs are actually going to look at focus points of interest as they walk around, so they will actually look at screens and things like that.
Let's do you want to do the focused? Which one was that one? I'll do it here. Do you know which one that was? The characters can notice you. Sorry, I put links here. Every character has their own name and rank. We did actually do the work here, but personal
1, 2, 4. I think the spoil tech, which is system point of interest look. So it's basically like it'll look round, and I mean there was a bit more extra info. I mean it's what we kind of presumed Subsumption was going to do, and then they went into a bit more detail of it. So you can see on there how she looks at the guard walking off.
Yeah, we saw that at the CitizenCon demo a couple of times.
You've clipped the wrong bit.
Really cool.
Oh, did I? I'm pretty sure I copied your numbers.
She did look into the camera. Yeah.
That one was more about the guard, so he would have different orders like coming over for an earpiece and tell him to go. So situations that happen on the ship. So because the prisoners landed, he went from being a guard to going, oh, there's some prisoners now landing in the base. And then he went to the hangar, saw the prisoners at the hangar, and then when they were gone, he then went with them to the prisoner holding cells to see, to keep a watch on them over there instead of being a guard on post. So there's going to be lots of little things like that. They said that there's the attitude of like the people towards you. So if you punch an AI, they're probably not going to talk to you the next time you walk past them. Whereas if you actually go out,
that's going to be
do a job or help someone and come back, they'll look at you and they'll talk to you and they'll notice as you walk past. The other thing with the spoil tech is that if you're, say, like in the engine room and you're looking at a specific part of the engine, the AI that's there may notice what you're looking at and then start talking to you about what you're looking at, which I thought was really clever. So it's got like a little countdown. So if you look at something for long enough, it'll say, oh, I see you looking at the shield generators. Yeah, they're a bit buggered at the moment because we just took a hit in the last quantum jump or something. I don't know, whatever. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's the eyeball thing. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I was like, I will definitely be wandering after some of these AI characters to see where they go, to see if you can form a pattern, if there's a constant pattern, or if it really is random. Was
quite interesting because this is something I did mention before. Like, say, like if you had a barman behind a pub and he goes in every day and works behind the bar. Like if he ran out of, technically. With this technology, I don't see why that if they ran out of booze in the back, he could then look at it and go, "Oh, we're out of stock," and actually just by himself go and order more stock, which would be cool. But then on top of that, there's also like his everyday. So they said that although that person may be a guard, they're not going to be a guard 7 days a week. They will actually have days off. So you might go to look for them and then find out that they're in the mess hall having a day off and things like that as well. So they're really trying to give them a full living feel to them so that they're not so static when you meet them, I think.
Yeah.
Evisceratus has a question in chat, by the way.
Yeah, go for it. Just read it out. We'll go through it as we
Speaking of capital ships, not everyone will have one, and doesn't seem likely there will be tons of players versus player conflicts to make them usable on a consistent basis. Do you think there will be game-made invasion/pirate events where players will be able to use their larger ships in missions on a regular basis? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think that there will be, but I think you'll want to be careful depending on how much time you have to wait for your ship to come back if it's destroyed.
Yeah.
And we need to find out a lot more information about this time to kill as well to see what that's going to actually mean for big ships. Because at the moment, I can kill a caterpillar in 30 seconds with a saber.
That's a really good point. If you have a javelin and you're going to need it to invade something on a Sunday, you don't want to be losing it on the Saturday. Can you imagine?
Yeah, you've got all this big planned raid. You go, do you know you wanted my javelin? I kind of took it out for a spin yesterday, and I may have dented it so that it no longer works.
Yeah,
raid
that's a mistake I made in EVE Online.
Yeah, it came to. I was thinking that I said that in my stream earlier today. I was saying that you'll have a situation where you'll have like, say, we've all got like lots of carracks, and I was thinking maybe actually it's not a bad thing because if the carracks and ships get destroyed really easily, you'll be asking Bob. We're going to take Bob's carrack. He goes, "Oh, sorry guys, yeah, it got destroyed yesterday." And then you'd be like, "Oh, okay, we'll take Jimmy's." "Oh, sorry, yeah, that got destroyed."
I was there watching you stream at that point.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I'd probably
Frank, we'll take
my ship into a war zone. Yeah, mine's broke as well.
we'll take Frank's out. It's fine. His is still on. Yeah, guys, I'm still okay. And then you crash it on exit or something. Be like, oh no, you have to ring up somebody else to get their carrack. I'll be like, oh, I'm still on cooldown. Cooldown is another 2 days for it. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I hope so. Absolutely hope so. Like Moist said. Let's just quickly whiz through some of these wonderful things. Characters will notice you. Okay, we talked about that. The quartermaster. I thought this was pretty cool. Oh, if I see any more canteens, like I'm just so tired of seeing canteens.
Show it off a lot, I mean, some of the animations were pretty funky still, to be fair. I think I said that like she jumps up and then she does this weird like, ooh. Yep. It's great on the spot.
It's great to see female characters, though. I'm going to say it.
And she skids to see on this one. She skids. It's weird. Do you see her when you go back? She just kind of like as she's walking, just like this little skid on the floor. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
Yeah, it's just.
And I do feel like, although they're mocapping, I don't know if it's the way because. Do you know when they wear the mocap, they got that face rig and stuff on their head? So they're walking extremely kind of wooden. Their head is not moving, or they look at a point and then they walk towards it. And I feel like everything else looks quite nice and reasonably natural, but their head is not right. If I walk to one side of the ship to another, I might look around.
I think they blend different animations together, don't they?
It's kind of, at the moment, it's just kind of...
I think that's maybe one of the reasons why the women's characters, they're just not ready yet. Because if I watch the way she walks here, so I'm just going to try and slow it down.
There's the slip.
There's the slip on the floor. That's to do with the element. But it's here. It's the way she's walking.
It's reality.
It's the way she's walking here, I agree.
Her head is just looking at a point. It's just focus.
It might be something to do with the fact that they've got that this whole chicken technology's head, the head like a chicken. Do you know what I mean? The way that it's in order for the camera to be able to like stabilize. I don't want to go over it.
I don't know.
That whole like the head of a chicken doesn't move at all. If you obviously hold
I don't
the chicken,
know when they're mocapping it, whether it's keeping them still, whether it's.
But they can still like I said they can blend animations together, so they can prevent that from happening. It's just
It's the length of the stride as well. See, the length of her stride doesn't seem very natural to me. That's a huge stride she's taking. That's enormous stride.
She's determined to get to that side of the ship. That's all.
And it doesn't fit the rest of the body.
She's a very focused woman. She's a very focused woman, and she wants to get to that side of the ship.
By the way, Nikki has trademarked the term chicken head.
Chicken head tech.
Well done. That's what you're here for, Nikki.
Thanks, Nikki.
By the way, Eviscerator says, have another question for Madness. Yep. Yes. Have you tested time to kill on, say, a cat player ship versus NPC? Do they currently die in relatively the same time?
I have... Yes.
Thank you.
Pretty much. The only difference is that a caterpillar pilot is a little bit more able to move. They have better control of their shields, so they can maybe push their shields backwards and forwards depending on where you're hitting. So in theory, it would take longer. I've actually volunteered my services to CIG. They're more than welcome to come ask me. I'm more than happy to become an NPC combat model for all combat ships and vehicles in space. I'm more than happy to be they can copy how I fly and put it into game. It's absolutely fine. More than happy for the programming. Could you imagine how much fun that would be to lead the charge on combat pirate sabers or something? That'd be sick. I'd love that. But yeah, this is cool. I like to see the old dude. The old dude looked awesome, by the way. I was really, really chuffed with that. But yes, it's about the same, but it all depends on the skill of the pilot.
One of the things that I was really happy about, actually, that they talked about was the different walks. Because something that does cheese me off in games is when they use the same walk animation for every NPC, and they did mention that.
Yes,
there's quite a few different variations.
Unique walk animations. Yeah,
he had a proper little bit of a waist tilt there going on.
A wiggle.
He's like, he's
doing like a cowboy sort of Western style.
Like, and then they got
his ass is leading the way.
And they're still not going around corners very well at the moment. But looks, they kind of go.
No, but they talked about that at
cool,
CitizenCon in one of the panels, and that is something they're working on.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying at the moment it's still not there.
It's got a beard. It's got a beard. I thought
it's a very bright beard, isn't it?
It's a glue-on beard. That is.
It's not finished, polished. Ignore that, but it's cool. It's cool to see. Very cool.
Well, that was great.
That's ATV for you. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, everybody.
That was ATV. That was ATV. So we're going to call it there, guys, because we want to have an earliest podcast tonight. So Moist needs to get some sleep so we can get ready for work. So thank you for everybody that has joined us this evening. I hope you've had a good time. I've certainly had a wonderful time, as always, with you guys. Where can we find
Public
you guys this week?
Service announcement. Bridison Con is happening soon in April 21st. We've been spamming chat with a link, but ! Bridison Con. Don't forget, get your tickets. They're still on sale. Loads of wonderful people are going, including Moist and myself. They're not so wonderful people. Some CIG devs are all going to be there. You can go and say hello to Brian, and don't stroke his hair because he will kick you. But otherwise, yes, definitely go and get yourself a ticket. Make sure you go and support this excellent fan run event. There's also a Bar Citizen on the Friday. There's a Bar Citizen after the event. So no other reason but to just go there, get drunk, and enjoy the show.
Many raffle prizes, as Cameron Wilkie mentioned.
All the raffles.
All the raffles, yeah. So do that. Also, if you like what we do, like the content, if you like Dungeons and Dragons as well, guys, if you are big Dungeons and Dragons, we have on Friday, Miserable G and myself have a show called Stout and Sturdy, which we do Dungeons and Dragons, and we play through fantasy. What's the game called again? On Fantasy Grounds. And Miz basically is the dungeon master. He uses the tool to make it, but Miz does all the hard work as the DM, building the world and creating all the stories and the shenanigans that go on, pretty much. So I don't think we've got something. We're going to be doing something different probably on Friday, because I don't think we have enough people, sadly, due to real life situations for Friday.
I think we might. I've only got 2 people down, so I think we are still doing it. I don't know. I mean, I did an extra session on Sunday as well, so that was fun.
Okay. So so check out on Friday, and that's usually a lot of fun. And then, Miz, you also do, talking about Dungeons and Dragons, you also do Paint, Prattle and Roll as well, don't you? Which is painting figurines.
Wednesday evening, painting D&D models. Well, I did paint the pilot for StarCitizen as well, which I need to.
That was awesome.
Finish off the base, but yeah.
Cool.
He's just got to get a clear coat of varnish on top so he doesn't chip. But yeah, that's good.
And we will eventually get some stuff for you.
I just need StarCitizen to print out some more models so that we can paint them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah. And like I say, if you like the show, subscribe. If you like what we do, the best thing you could do for us, I think, would be to help us through Patreon. We have a Patreon link through our YouTube as well. And there should be links on my page here to go to Patreon. That is like one of the most awesome things you could do, so that helps us support and grow and potentially get more things that we can do for the show. And otherwise, the other great thing you guys could do on top of just being here is obviously merchandise. We have some cool t-shirts. Feel free to get some t-shirts, get some gear. Cool designed by myself. I'm not wearing one of my t-shirts. If other people want to, if there are other great designers out there, by the way, that have got some ideas that want to do stuff, feel free to approach me. And if it's really cool and I like it, we'll chuck it on. It's not a problem to put it on the channel. So I'm all for content creation from you guys.
Exploiting labour. I mean,
ideas.
Hey, I'm not. I'm a busy man. So, yeah. So, Miz, where can we find you?
You can find me on the Asylum YouTube channel, which may be a link in chat, and also on miserable_G on Twitch. Wednesday nights, Friday nights, and Monday nights at the moment.
Awesome. And myself, you can catch me here, obviously, and generally through the week. I'll be streaming generally through the week, playing multiple games: StarCitizen, The Witcher, Subnautica. At the moment, Witcher is kind of my main thing, really, besides StarCitizen. So I'm loving playing that again. It's fantastic. So whilst we wait for 3.1 to come. So yeah, that's it, really, guys. So I think we'll say...
No, don't worry about me.
We don't need you, Moist. What are you talking about? It's fine.
We don't need you, Moist. Oh, ow.
We don't need you anymore.
Okay.
You could go.
Here, then.
You're done.
I thought you were my friends.
Now, Moist Noodles, where can we find you?
Moist
Noodle
_Noodle on Twitch.
Noodle.
And
Noodle.
the Moist Noodle on Twitter. I'm going to be hopefully streaming all week this week. I kind of took a week off to chill out because I'm trying to work stuff out at work. I put a lot of pressure on myself and needed. But it's cool. I've hit all my own sales targets for the month.
Nice.
Which is nice. And I'm actually going to be doing some VR stuff this week, and I'm a bit of a pussy, so that'll be fun. So there we go.
Look forward to that.
Oh, Nikki's asking, can I post a link? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
I say
you get banned, but go
somebody
for
else's.
No, you go ahead. Head stabilization ATV. Yeah. Go for it. Post a link. This is the chicken head one, right? From back in the day.
Well, you might as well. We can end on that. That's a good thing to end on.
Yeah.
And also, if you did miss any of the podcasts, if you want to see past podcasts, it's on the Asylum YouTube channel as well. And this one will be going up as soon as possible tomorrow at some point. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you very much, everybody, for your support. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'll
love.
see you during the week sometime.
During the week.
Roll on
Take care,
Friday.
Guys. Woo! Yeah, definitely. Take care, guys.
Are you going to show the chicken thing?
Am I going to show it? Yeah, I can show it.
I thought you were just going to show it as we credit out.
That's how it looks with a camera attached to the head. As soon as you start to move, you get this crazy camera shake, and it almost looks like the camera is randomly bouncing around. So this is nothing we can use in the game, and it's certainly not how humans perceive
they should have called that chicken head.
But the funny thing is, this is actually the real motion of the head. This is all part of the mocap data.
It just looks like VR.
If you take a GoPro camera, attach it to your forehead, and move around, then it looks exactly.
And that's to do with it. I'm just stop the audio on the guy. So that's the that's to do with basically when it was originally attached to the head, because they wanted the camera to be true first person.
This, yeah.
It was impossible to see anything, and then the guy saw a chicken's head. I don't know if he's done the video. I don't know if I can show the video.
Just skip ahead.
Oh, I don't know where it is. Let's see if he shows it. He saw it on a YouTube video. Hang on, skip on a bit. I don't want to go for it.
It's not even
eye stabilization.
With humans, it's not just about how we try to stabilize our heads. Our brains also stabilize the image as well.
Yeah, we don't
believe
do what chickens do.
Yeah,
they don't, because the brains are too small. But we don't.
There it is. There's a chicken's head there. There's a chicken's head there. Whoop.
Oh yeah.
See the head. See, that's
so weird. That is so weird.
There you go. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Peace out.
Goodbye, everybody.
Should we? Do we have anyone to host, or should we just call it?
Oh, shall we have a look?
All right.
Hang on, let's have a look.
Should we see if there's?
Hang on, is there
Find
anybody? Somebody nice.
I haven't hosted Moonshiners. Moonshiners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, there's no one else I know really, unless I've got someone wrong. Moonshiners. I haven't hosted Moonshiners for ages. Let's do that. Let's raid Moonshiners. Let's give her a host. Show us some love. Raid.
If we just do it like this, so it looks like we're in a loop, we've probably already gone.
Wait for 40 seconds. Have a great evening, everyone. You're all awesome.
China.
Say hi to Moonshiners for us.
Bravo.
Have fun. Keep it StarCitizen. Takes forever. Like the old system of hosting. It's still going.
So creepy. So creepy. Oh my god.
That was so good. Just
bless.
Oh, it's gone. Right, closes OBS.
Wait.
It calls afterwards.
Yeah.